What up? What up? What up? We're here. We are here. Give us a minute here to get finished that setup. Wait for a couple more people to jump in here. It's just about 7 o'clock, and we'll do a little live Q&A. How's the sound? Can you guys hear me okay? Trying this on a laptop this time instead of my phone. Looks okay. Sounds good, John. Right on. Thanks. Appreciate it. Let me get some glare off of those lights, maybe. How about that? That's probably a little better. Man, it was cold in Colorado. Whew. Wasn't bad first day, but a lot of you guys probably don't know, but I took that Fuel Tech car, which is parked. You guys can't see it, but it's parked right here. Cletus's car on the lift, but it's right there. We took. Was going to have Jamie remote in and tune it, and unfortunately, I don't want to talk crap on anybody because I use dynos all over the place, but the dyno, he wanted an astronomical amount per hour just to rent the dyno, which was way above the budget. So, hey, thanks. Brandon brought me the cord. Was way above the budget, so it was actually cheaper for me to drive the car out to Colorado and just tune it in person. So we did a quick turnaround trip, and it was, believe it or not, the weather was really nice. We kind of snuck in and snuck out of there. Let me move that. There's a little glare on that light over my head, like it's like I'm glowing. Let me move this way. Whatever. The lighting's the lighting. Sorry, guys. So anyways, it was like 65 degrees when we got there, and then Saturday morning when we went to leave, I went back to PFI and hooked up the trailer, and it was like 14 or 16 degrees, something like that. And man, that was cold. That was some cold like I had never felt. I guess from what they were telling me, it's supposed to get even worse out there this coming week. It's supposed to be like 6 degrees or something. Crazy cold. But got a few people on here. You guys got any questions? Throw them out there. I know when I did this last time, a lot of you guys asked for me to do it again, kind of do more of an open forum. And I had some things I wanted to talk about last time, but this is kind of more of an open forum. You guys can just throw anything you want out there and ask me anything. You got any tech questions? All control. How's it going, man? I was the guy that saw you at O'Reilly's today. Hey, what's up, dude? Yeah, man, ran into this guy at O'Reilly's today. Yeah, that old man behind the counter was kind of rude, but whatever, dude. He got me what I needed. So, yeah, you had that pre-runner that we welded up at Glamis. I remember you guys from out there. So you guys can see I got, not used to this because I'm using a laptop and my phone. Got Cleater's car back here on the lift, getting ready to put that thing away for the season. We're going to, basically what I like to try to do with his car is prep it now. When I have a little bit of time, get all the preseason prep done because he'll come out, I don't know when, but he'll come out next season. See what else. What are my thoughts on a slightly wet oil plugs on a turbo Subi? Well, slightly wet oil plug on a turbo Subi. Depends on where the oil's at on the plug. If it's right on the electrode, then you probably got either a ring issue or a valve guide issue. I would do a compression and leak down test immediately, and that will point you more towards where your problem is. So back to his car. I like to do a preseason prep on it before I store it. We'll run pump gas through it because it's an E85 car, so it doesn't wipe out the injectors, and we'll get it all put away for the season. Thanks. No problem. Joseph Lombardo, what's up, dude? Thanks for all the videos. Right on, man. No problem, dude. I love doing it. I got a lot more videos coming, guys. I've got tons of stuff on my phone. I went to PFI again over the weekend. We filmed all of that. Brent will have a video about that coming out soon too. We tuned the world's first fuel tech sand car. Did really well. We're really, really happy with it. It made like 300 horsepower. It's glitchy on the TV. Really? Glitchy. Maybe it's the service. And on your phone too, it's glitchy. Let's see. See how many windows are open here. Oh, just one. Well, maybe the laptop's not the way to do it then. Maybe I'll go back to my phone. Oh, it's all good there. All right, maybe it's just my service. All right, cool. I'm going to let it ride. We did have our internet hit the other day. They were boring down our street, but that might have something to do with it. So, yeah, Brent will have a video about that coming out soon. Car made, if we could only make like 5 pounds of boost there, 4.5, 5 pounds, it's got a 8 or 10 pound spring in it, but the air there is so thin. All good here in Minnesota. Okay, cool. The air up there is so thin that it just doesn't want to make boost. So it made 300 horsepower on 5.5 pounds of boost. And then I got it off the trailer today, drove it up and down my street and around the neighborhood, let it warm up, and then made a pull on it. And it made 8.5 pounds of boost. So it's probably going to make 9 or 10 at the dunes. And the car rips and runs flawlessly. The fuel tech setup on that car is freaking awesome. All right. What kind of questions you guys got? Throw some questions at me. You guys asked for this, so I figured I'd jump on here and do it. How did I come to meet Joe Fab? Someone asked me that the other day in the other chat, but I'll talk about it again. I started off just as a customer. I bought a San Limo 12 years ago, 13 years ago, something like that. And I wanted to get a hood and a dash and stuff built for it. And somebody told me that he ran the shop there in Glamis. So I shot out there, went and met him, showed him my car, and had lined up a day to have the hood and stuff done, and was just hanging out in the shop. And a customer came in that had a fan problem on a brand new, like $300,000 Funko. The fans weren't working. And Joe does not do electrical. And I mean, not at all. That guy can bend tube and weld, but he's not an electrical guy. So he told the customer, I'm sorry, I don't do electrical. You're going to have to take it somewhere else. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. That's what I specialize in. Hold it. So within 15 minutes, I had the guy's fans working again. And then Joe said, you want a job? And I was like, yeah, heck yeah, I'll work out here with you. And so from there, it's history. Corey, what happened to my live feed from last week? You went to watch it later that night and it was gone. I took it down. I was messing with my all my videos and stuff, and I accidentally deleted it. I tried to get it recovered, but it is what it is. How many front engine sand rails do we see? My grandfather has one that runs over in Oregon. I'm designing one right now and would love to take it to Glamis one day. We don't see very many. We see there's quite a few truggies out there. We call them truck buggies, or like trophy truck style stuff with no body on it that are front engine. The cool thing about front engine is the transmission stuff. You can put a built turbo 400 in it and not have to worry about transaxle problems. That's one big upside to having front engine, that's for sure. 3.0 Subaru turbo mid-engine, and I want to convert over to LS. Roughly how much would it cost to convert over to LS as in fab work? I know I'll get hate by the Subaru guys. Just in fab work, if you supplied everything, you're probably looking at a couple grand worth of fab work by the time it's all said and done to get it in there. And that's if you bring everything, and then there's, wiring that goes along with it. Are we removing all the old stuff, or are you just dropping it off? I mean, you could save some money by pulling all the old stuff out yourself and getting it ready to go in. So there's a lot of different options there. Is a B18 good for a sand rail, or should we boost J or NA? For a sand rail, I actually had a small two-seater with a B16 in it, and it ripped pretty good. Depends on how big your car is. I personally would go with the J series because it has way more torque than a four-cylinder. If you are going to put a B18 in it, build it, boost it. The other problem with B18s, right? They make a ton of horsepower, like my Honda, at high RPMs, and transaxles do not like high RPMs. So you start transaxles through high RPMs, you're going to start eating ring and pinions and such. They do not like it. So yeah, like I said, we just got, compressor just came on. Hang on, guys. Do I eat dingleberries? Honestly, bro, your mom has so many of them. I just got to move them out of the way. So what's next? So yeah, like I said, we just got back from Colorado, tuned that car, made a ton of power. 300 is great power for 4 pounds, 5 pounds of boost. It'll probably make 350 to 375 up here, which is perfect for a stock J, and that motor will live for a long time. What's going on with my sand car? My sand car, I got an update video coming out on that soon. It is almost ready to go to powder. I know I keep saying that, but when we get down to the end of the chassis work, there's just so many little tiny details that I don't want to overlook before I send it off to powder. Every little tab, every little brake line connector and hook, and so it's we just don't want to miss anything. Is Joe going to make any more of the Baja bugs? We do have a body at the shop right now. If we get a customer that wants one, we can definitely make them one. Unfortunately, those are pretty high-end cars, so we can't just come out of pocket and make one and let it sit and hope somebody buys it. We have to have a customer for that. We have built, excuse me, I think we built 4 of those. 3 went to Qatar, and there's one that is out in Dumont all the time with a U.S. customer. That's our boy Jake. Those cars came with a S4D, and they had a 660 horsepower LS3, supercharged LS3s in them. Would I buy a CF Moto side-by-side and leave it stock for a first side-by-side Z104? Yeah, I'd buy one. If the price was right, most definitely. I'd try anything once. So back to what you said, Corey. My car just, I thought, yeah, we're just going to do this really quick and get it all together. And then Joe just is constantly like, what about this tab? And you need this tab, and you got to have this. And it's like, holy crap. And then, a lot of that stuff, like on Tuesday or last Wednesday, we were mounting the sway bar, and the sway bar end links and the arms, those are all laser cut for us, all the pieces. But then you have to take all those pieces and put them all together and form them, and then tack weld them, and then have Brandon TIG weld them. And, it's just a big process. It's not just grab stuff off the shelf and throw it on the car. So, and again, I don't want to leave out any details on my car. before it goes to powder. That's the worst feeling in the world. You send a car off to get powder coated, and then you start putting it back together and realize you forgot a tab for this or for that or what have you. What else, guys? See, somebody's texting me right now. Somebody asked me in a text message, why are those little tiny tires on the car? So those of you that don't know, we take the big paddle tires off and we put little Volkswagen tires on so we can get them on and off of trailers and in and out of a trailer. I prefer the J35A4. That is my go-to motor for torque. If you got a smaller car and you want it to rev, then a J32A2. That's the accurate TL Type S motor. That makes more horsepower than the J30 than the A4, but it revs higher. The other one makes more torque and less horsepower. You're working on a VW sound rail. Right on, man. That's awesome. David, did Joe ever get that truck done? No, it's not done yet. I mean, it's fully assembled. The motor's in it, transmission's in it. We're waiting on a few more things for the brake system for that truck, and then I've got to wire it, and then it's going to be ready. Might not see it this season. We've been a little bit busy, with Glamis Fab and everything, and we've had quite a few customer cars, but we'll get we'll get back to work on that. I was reading another comment there. Buy, sell, trade guy, Flax. What do I think about Taz cars? It's funny you mentioned that. Just bought a roller, but I don't know what power plant to put in it. So, believe it or not, Taz cars were built by Joe. Those are San Limos. If you look at the front shock mount and everything and compare them to a bigger San Limo, they look exactly like it. It's the same thing. Joe built, I think, the first 4 or 5 San cars and then sold the jig to those guys at Taz Car. And, they took over from there. But, yeah, that's a San Limo. Basically, you got a small San Limo. Most of those cars had a CVT-style clutch transmission in it, and they used a belt, kind of like a side-by-side. Now, a lot of them put Honda motors, and Hondas are Ecotechs in them, 4-cylinder stuff. It reminds me of how much wizardry is in being a mechanic. You guys do everything. Yeah, we do a lot. We try not to turn anything away at Glamis Fab and try to stock parts there for everything. It's hard to do. Dave, our counter guy, between him and Joe and their brains and how they keep inventory of what we have and what we need is absolutely friggin' amazing. My head would explode if I tried to keep track of everything that's there. Those guys are awesome. Sling Buzz, you're working on what kind of VW sound rail are you working on, dude? What is it? I'm gonna throw this link up on my Instagram too here real quick. See if I can share this. There's a plus button right there. Hold on real quick, guys. I'm gonna try to get the link for this and toss it up on my Instagram. I don't know what that means. It says waiting. Oh, well. I'll figure it out later. What else, guys? What else? What is the best San Limo? To be honest with you, there's a lot to look for in a San Limo. It all depends on what you want. 2-seater, 4-seater. Joe's made a single-seater before. The best car that he ever built to me is a San Limo Crusader. That's I think he only built 5, maybe 6 of those cars. They've got billet arms on them. It's basically a San Limo Monster Cruiser with beefier arms than Monster arms. Those cars are pretty cool, but for the most part, they all drive and handle pretty much the same. Two-seater with a 1641. Nice. That's awesome, man. Anything to get you out in the sand is bitching. That's cool. Do we charge by the job or hourly for the work that you do? Are you talking about me personally or Glamis Fab? Usually at Glamis Fab, it's done by the job. We do have set rates for certain things. Basic welds are a certain price. And, okay, price line. Let me move you out of the way. For a basic weld, I think it's $40. And then it goes up from there. But, we charge for CV service is $300 a side. And it's that includes taking out your axles, cleaning and inspecting the CVs. If it's regular labor at San Limo, I believe it's $200 an hour is the going rate right now. And that's for assembling a car, building a car, fab work, whatever. It's just basic labor rate plus parts. See if I got any more messages here. But we get you back in the dunes the same day. Yes, absolutely. Usually within an hour or two. Hoping to upgrade to thick walled 88s and 90.5 heads. Yeah, nice. If you thick walled 88s. Okay. Or if you go the 90.5 piston, a thick wall 90.5, then that'll make that motor a 1776. 69 by 90.5 is a 1776 if you have a stock crank. See, 24 minutes on. Does Joe White Rail get done? Not sure if I miss it. Yeah, it's done. We actually just put the turbo back on it. The turbo was leaking a little bit of oil, so Joe took it off and had it inspected. It's going to the dyno. Dave and I talked about that today. I think we're going to put it on the dyno next week. Hopefully that thing makes good power. And then Fish from Doug's Bugs and Bunnies, that's who built Joe's motor, and that is going to come to the dyno with us and bring his jet kit, and he's going to tune it. But yeah, it's done. And then as soon as my car gets done, I'm going to take him out in the dunes and beat on him a little bit. Joe's a driver, though, that's for sure. Even in a beam car, that dude can definitely drive anything. It's pretty gnarly. Actually, just like someone asked about the truck earlier, I cannot wait for the truck to get finished. That, to me, is going to be awesome. Another text. You got an A-arm Baja bug. What's a good starting point for front spring rates? It's a good question. A-arm Baja bug, I would do like 300. Do like a 150 over a 300 probably. Start there. It's Baja bugs are pretty light in the front, so probably. And then again, also, do you have a 2.0, 2.5, 3.0? What's on the front of that thing? Usually doing it Little Sahara, and would love to make it to Glamis. And I'd love to make it to Little Sahara one day. I'm actually going to do a Dune end of the season when my car. Appreciate it, David. I'm going to travel for a couple, or maybe a month or so. 35 on the Baja, nice. So yeah, starting point in the front, probably 150 over 300 is where I would start with that. J35 on the Baja bug, that's awesome. Who made your harness? All right. Let's see. What else? What else? So, like I said, Cleater's car on the lift, getting ready to put that thing away for the season. He'll be back out sometime next year. Probably right around Camp Razor time is when he comes out. I've got that world's first Fuel Tech car done. I have not talked with Kyle lately on when he's going to come out and drive his car, but hopefully soon. This one guy from Mesa made my harness. He seems to know it. Yeah. Right on. Not sure when Kyle's going to come out. Hopefully sometime soon. It'd be awesome to have them out. And then I got a whole drag racing season to start worrying about. I got to start working on my Honda and finishing my sand car as well. At Glamis Fab, would I be able to have my CV service because CV service sucks? Yes, we do. Did Andrew ever get his shirt? Oh, is that the guy? Is that the guy asking about the shirt last time? Anyways, so yeah, you can get your CV serviced at Glamis. It's $300 a side plus parts. So if you need a boot or a flange or whatever, that's extra. But it's $300 to pull your axle out of the car, disassemble both CVs, clean them, inspect them, put them back together, and then plus whatever parts you need. What's the power on the Fuel Tech sand car? I'll take those. Thank you. The Fuel Tech sand car made 298 or 299 on 4.5 or 5 pounds of boost. We couldn't. I didn't want to turn the boost up there in Colorado, and then come down here because it's just going to make naturally it's going to make more boost. So my Honda on PFI's dyno makes like 22 pounds, and then I bring it down here with no other changes, and it tries to make 30, 35. It hits the boost cut, so we've got to turn it down just because of the air differences. So I went and ripped it. I logged a pass today in the car out in front of the house, and it made 8.5 pounds of boost. So it'll probably make 9 or 10 once you get into the higher gears. So it's probably going to make 375 in that range, which is exactly where we want it because that's where they live. Do you recommend CAD for online design or a different program entirely? No, we use CAD. Our bulkhead front end was CAD designed. So yeah, CAD's awesome. Should you upload a video of how to dune? I have no experience with sand duning, and I've watched all the videos. I'm actually thinking about doing a dune safety video, believe it or not. I've been approached by a couple of people. There's a lot of things you need to know before you go duning. Don't do it alone. That's for sure. We've saved many of people out in the middle of the dunes by themselves, which is just ridiculous. Always changes, takes time and experience. Yes, it does. And if you can go with an experienced group or people, then that's all for the better. Going to be out there for Tucson rodeo break. You're going to be out there in Cletus's car. What is the Tucson rodeo break? No, I won't be out there in Cleet's car. His car is done and dialed and ready for him, and I'm going to put it away for the season. So I do a preseason prep on it now, get it all cleaned up and ready, redo the CVs, pack everything, go through the whole car front to back, and then we're going to put it away, get all the E85 out of it, put pump gas through it so it doesn't clog the injectors, and then he'll come out next season. I only drive Cleet's car after something is broken or after I fix something, and I just go out there and test it and make sure everything's good to go on it. That's about the only time I drive his car. Let's see, what else? Yeah, I did say a little. Yeah, I heard about being down on power up there because of the elevation, for sure. Thursday and Friday next week, I may be out there at the shop. Cleater needs to buy that property for sale out there. I know. I tagged him in it. 200 over 300. Oh, okay. So I got a text from somebody that's watching that knows a little more about the spring rates. 200 over 300 on that Baja. That would be the way to go. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate that. Cleater needs to buy that property for sale out there. I know. I tagged him in it and I sent him the link. It's $15 million though. but it does come with a lot of stuff. It comes with all of Pratt sand cars. It's got a track behind the house and a bunch of RS1s. Where's a place to get rear arms 5x5? We can make you some 5x5 arms, bud, unless you're looking for Volkswagen style arms. All depends. Oh, awesome, Chris. Yeah, come on down, dude. That'd be cool. And if I'm not there, say hi to Joe. Go and meet him and get a picture with Joe too. He loves it. Chump change for Cletus. Man, 15 million is not chump change for anybody. I don't care who you are. That's a lot of money, bro. A lot of money. I thought Greg Biffle had that. He does. That's not so the property that's for sale out there is way on the other side. It's over off the 8, where Duner's Diner is. Greg Biffle has the shop that's behind our shop. Preferably dual pivot. I'll be moving up to Mesa in April, so I'll take it then. Yeah, let me know, dude. We can do it. Fastest sand car out there currently. Well, I know Aaron Rice's car is very, very fast, but that car, one of those cars that Cletus drove, the Ruckus car, that thing is fat. That thing's like 1,500 horsepower as well. So I don't know. I don't know if there's any big heavy hitters out there. I really don't go out on the holidays and see all the big end cars. I'm stuck at the shop. So, well, do you have any of the pre-cut front gusset kits for Mavericks? Yes, we do. Yep, we got them at the shop. How do you get to Duner's Diner from Gecko? You go 26 miles down Gecko, and you'll hit it. It's the fastest at Gold Rush TRX Tatum. Yeah. I don't know if that's the fastest car, but that thing boogies. Cool. He's behind you guys. Didn't know that. Yeah. Biffle's shop is right behind us. The guys from Rocky Point have some fast cars. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They normally do. They do like a horsepower wars thing once a year, but the problem with doing that is they try to do it away from the drags, so there's not as many people because those cars are going so fast. And then the words they try to do it somewhere else, and then the word gets out, and then the police show up because it's a unpermitted, quote unquote, sanction or planned event. So if you go on the internet and you say, I have the fastest car in Glamis, prove me wrong, meet me here at this time, they consider that a planned event, and you have to have a permit for that. So, Chris, how much are they? The gussets, it's $300 to do one side and $100 to do the other. If it's bent, if they're unbent, it's probably $100 a side. In toward Mexico, and you'll get there. Yeah, exactly. Aim towards Mexico. You'll dead end at Duner's Diner. It's 26 miles from the end of Gecko. And it's, dude, that if your car's fast, that's a fun ride going from Gecko out to Duner's Diner. It's a rip, man. 4th gear pinned, and you're just going through little whoops and stuff. It's pretty awesome. It's a fun ride. Chain-driven VW rails out there. I've been hearing it's better on the train with having bigger tires. On the Valtrain, chain-driven VWs. No, we work on a lot of them that are straight cut. Wait, chain-driven. Depends. The black 4-door truck in my last video was amazing. Yeah, that's a badass truck. Joe only built 2 of those. You can weld them in yourselves. Oh, just the gussets themselves, probably $50. $50 a piece, probably. You love that ride. Oh, the ride to Duner's Diner. Yeah, it's freaking awesome. Chain drive is a hill climb thing. Yeah, definitely. Black 4-door San Limo. Yeah, like I said, Joe only made 2 of those. That thing's freaking awesome. That's my favorite truck of all time. On a scale of 1 to 200, how many dingleberries did you have to push aside to see my mom's semi-pro lamb starfish? 175 to count the folds on her Stink Star. Next. The black four-door trucks is one. One of the black four-door trucks. Oh, one of the owners. Oh, nice. Right on. What's the name of the side-by-side rental place near you? I think it's called Glamis Rentals. I don't know. We don't get down to Vendors Row too much except to pick up food. The Pro EFI sand truck. Nice. One of the best rides out there, just cruising 50 to 60, dodging all. Yeah, it's really fun. It's an awesome ride. Just throw on some music in the headsets and jam. Yeah, my rail is coming soon. What do I think of big turbo Can-Ams? Dude, honestly, I think they're cool. They're fast. But to be totally honest with you, I don't. Oh, wow, there's more comments right here. Here we go. I'm not a big side-by-side guy. And because I'm not, I mean, Can-Ams are cool. Don't get me wrong. Razors are cool. I have a Razor. We got a 2-seat Razor that we go around the fire roads and stuff on. My wife has it. But I work on those things all the time, guys. And if you look at some of my last videos where that Can-Am, that just the metal in the chassis is so thin, it's really sketchy. So I can never imagine going that fast in one of those cars, having it tumble on me. How's the Gia going, Johnny? It is coming. I think Kirsty's coming out here in the next couple of weeks, and I think they're going to finish up the body work on it. What's the biggest Banshee I've ever worked on? Jeez, I don't know. In the dunes, it's out. It's the out front Funko. Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. So what's the fastest song? You got somebody asked what the fastest car was out there. That would be the Funko owned by the owner of Outfront. You're not gonna catch that guy in the dunes. That's for sure. John from Outfront is a savage in the dunes. In a straight line, maybe one of those Tatums. In the dunes, you're not catching John. Sorry, buddy. Does Ed, the suspension guy, still tune shocks and Glamis? Yes. As far as I know, he still does. Ed's still there. I think he camps down on Gecko down there somewhere down in the loop. And I think he's still doing suspension tuning. Question: how much do you think you can get into a decent power, full suspension car for 30 to 35K? Then I'll probably start with side by side. Yeah, you could get into a decent powered car for 30 to 35. You just got to look, and when they come up for sale, you got to snatch them up right away. I was thinking about a Busa engine in the Taz car. Yeah, that would be cool. The problem is if you want, why would you want reverse? Big cars, we don't even use reverse on our cars if we don't have to. You can get a reverse box for them. Tom Pro makes them. They're very expensive though. Let's see. Tire pressure would run a paddle, Santarell 5.3 LS and a 2D. Okay. So back to talking about tire pressures again. 5.3 LS with a 2D, depending on your tire size and the dune conditions. If it's a road tire, we run them at 20 all the time. If it is say for instance, another brand tire, or let's say a molded tire versus a vulcanized tire, I would run 25 if it's been raining out, and 15 to 18 in the dunes. It's out for, yeah, for sure. Picking up my new speed car this week. Maybe make sure you have parts, Johnny. Oh, Johnny, but that Johnny, right on. Yeah, I can't wait to see that thing, dude. I can't wait. You're gonna love it. Trust me. Well, you guys already have a 2-seater, so you know. Tech 3 mid-engine with a 5-link rear end and snap the link. Not driving hard. They are aluminum. Do you recommend replacing them? I recommend replacing those aluminum links with chromoly links. You can get them copied, and it's not that hard to do. The one that's always broke. I don't know. John's car's not always broke. That's for sure. Let's see here. Do I have a favorite site or source? Hang on, let me scroll up. Can be a big, large Banshee motor with Toomey pipes. Haven't heard for Banshee. Let's see. A favorite site or source for Honda J motors. Yeah, LKQ, because I like using US motors and not JDM motors. Reason being, I was in the JDM motor business for a very long time. I had a Honda shop, and that's all I did was JDM motors and motor swaps. And a lot of times I would get a motor from Japan and out of a container, get it back to the shop, pull the valve cover off, and it's completely rusty inside. There's water in the cylinders. Just, no, Raphael, don't be. You can ask all the questions you want, bro. So yeah, I prefer LKQ, and I prefer USDM J35A4s or A2s, J32A2s from the US. Have I seen the kid with the NAA J Series Monster Inc. sand car? Very possible. If he's been to the shop, yeah. What's up? We're checking in from Brawley. What up, man? What up from Brawley? Love Glamis. Lucky enough to live it every weekend. Love your shit, bro. Right on. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Will a J35 blow up if you're cruising at 3,000 to 4,000 RPMs while my trans needs to get re-geared? Nah, I don't think so, dude. You'd be fine. Side-by-sides are too fast for the chassis. Yes, they are. Do you see any trophy carts in the dunes? Yeah, there's a matter of fact, in one of my last videos from this season, we did some welding on one, single seat trophy cart. The kid was out doing it. Do you see me so-called sand rails? So are they called sand rails or sand cars? The name sand rail comes from way, way back in the day where guys were building what they called rail cars, right? It was just kind of a pan with a roll cage over there, or just a roll bar over it. They called them rails. I call them sand rail, sand car, either one. Will I do a turbo for a YXZ? No, there's plenty, or an ECU flash. No, I don't work on those. There's plenty of companies out there that do them, that have bolt-in kits. My dad has the red and white and blue GTU Funko. That's always broken. Right on. Have you ever been to Pismo? Yeah, I used to spend a lot of time in Pismo. 4th of July was my go-to holiday out there. We used to get reservations and go 4th of July. Just over the last 10 or 15 years, or however long it's been since I've been there, it started to get extremely crowded. They closed a lot more of it off, and taking a big sand car out there is bad. And then, there's just not a lot of room out there. When I was riding a quad, it was cool. We used to take quads and Sea-Doos out there. So we'd go out there in the summer around July, and we'd ride our quads in the morning and the afternoon, and then we'd roll up to the motorhome, take off our riding gear, put on a life vest, and drag a ski out in the water and go Sea-Dooing out in the water. It's pretty cool. Nice to know. Do I like Pismo? Yeah, Pismo was awesome. Big block or small block worked better. In a sand rail, all depends on how big your car is and what you're trying to do. Probably a small block. Any opinions on those De Jong Monster Maxes? Yeah, they're cool cars. I like them. Most definitely. How are we going to know when you're going to do your next live show? I put a post up a couple hours ago that I was going to do it, but I will. I'll put a bunch out. I'll put a post out on all my social media stuff. Let everybody know. Do I ever go to Canyon Lake or Roosevelt? Canyon Lake, California. No, I have been there. Canyon Lake or Roosevelt here. No, I'm not much of a boat guy. Why didn't I build a new frame? Seems like it would have been easier. So Joe and I just had this discussion again last Wednesday when we were working on my car. Building a whole new frame. So you have to, first of all, get the jig set up, get all the tubing. Then you got to retab for your floors. You've got to retab for your seats. It's a lot. And I mean, the bottom half of the car, the top half and the shocks and stuff or what we're doing now is nothing compared to the bottom half. There's way more that goes into it. And my car, already had floor pans in it, already had the pedal assembly, it was already a car. So that's kind of why we didn't do the bottom half of the car. We just did the roof. What days will I be doing these lives? I don't know. They're going to be random, man. So that's why I didn't do a whole new frame. Lots and lots of taps. No Arizona. No, I haven't been to Canyon Lake or Roosevelt. I have been up and did the kayaking up here, floated down the river a couple times. That was pretty cool. Do I see any Joiner Sand Vipers anymore? Yeah, we see them once in a while. Dude, I saw one. One of them had a big LS motor in it. And I was like, oh, dude, you better do some chassis reinforcement on this thing. But yeah, we see them out there once in a while. A price for my electric steering kit install, just in between monies, at Glamis, at Joe's Shop, or at Glamis Fab. Electric steering installed, I think, is like $1,300 installed, done, and out the door. Do you eat corn the long way? I use corn in my fuel tank, bro. Where do Sandrails get those custom manifold covers? There's a couple companies that make them. Wasn't your plan to build a radius roof? Yeah, it is radius. It's just very slightly radiused. Do I ever think I'll do a turbo motor, or will I keep it NA? My motor is going to stay NA because it's 12.5 to 1 compression. If I had to do it, and I got my motor under some circumstances where it was already built and it was a really great deal from a good friend. So that's why it's staying NA. If I was to do it over again, I'll probably put a blower on it. Do you think I'll ever do a turbo? Okay, got that one. Do you all see different length axles and splines? My splines are too short because I had to cut my axle. Yeah, so we sell, Gear One makes our axles for us, and we get them to make the splines about as long as that corn up there. And we'll measure your axle and we'll cut it down on both sides so you have the right amount of splines on both sides. What companies sell the engine covers? I think CBM sells them. What up from Mexico? Have I ever reached out to Artec for a sponsor? You think I should, right? Because my walls aren't done yet. I should hit them up. Maybe they'll pay to have my walls covered and the drywall done. From Mexicali, right on. When do an oil change to S4D? Ever fill the gear lube or just in the bottom of the fill hole? Well, most of the S4s that I've worked on have the fill hole in the top. So am I going to be out there for the old school roundup this year? Yes, I will be there. When is Cletus and Kyle getting their cars back? Probably never. They have no use for these cars in Florida, so they will probably stay with me. That way they're prepped and ready for them when they come to Glamis. Unless Garrett needs it for something or whatever. Like when they used it up in the snow, I had it transported up there and then transported back here to me. So I just kind of store their cars for them and prep them and get them ready. When you do an oil change, okay, got that. That price over handshake. We'll need to talk about the spline adapters. Okay, cool, no problem. I've been to the Green Door in Algodones, Mexico. No, I have not. What is that? I know they're called sandbars, like the one behind you. Sand cars. Would be as good as with some dirt. Yeah, these things rip in the desert with dirt tires on them. I've had mine. If you go back to some of my old, it's a strip club. No, I've never been there. If you do, I look familiar? I used to work there in my old. If you go back to some of my old videos, I actually drove my car. Just CBM sells engines. No, Redline probably carries them. I know there's a bunch of. Right on, Ken. No worries. I know there's a bunch of different companies that make them. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. Are you talking about the full aluminum cover that covers the whole top of an LS motor? My favorite two-stroke oil. I don't know. Whatever was cheapest when I had a two-stroke. What else? No, J35 Honda guy. I am a Honda guy, that's for sure. I do have an LS in my car, but I am definitely a Honda guy. Only reason my car has an LS in it is because that's what was in it when I got it. Let's see what else. How long have we been on here? 52 minutes. We'll keep going for a while. What I think is the best J35? The best J35 San Limo. Maxima's good. Yep. 927. I like A-arm cars better than mid-travel for sure. Oh, good. Hey, Brianna, why don't you bring me one of those out here? She knows what I'm talking about. I'll show you guys what my favorite two-stroke oil is in a minute. J35. What do I think is the best J35 San Limo? That's a weird question, but my car's VW and had the privilege of riding next to him. Cool. J35 in the Baja Bug, and you want an engine cover. Who ended up buying Jeff Pasuti's copper car with the doors? Some guys from Oregon bought it. They've owned several San Limos. They were friends with Joe. They know him. One of the guy who bought it, his brother actually used to work for Joe at San Limo. So that car is in the Pacific Northwest now. Craziest ride you ever had. That thing is gnarly. Mindiola and an LS3 Whipple for your car. A Mindiola what? So there's a big price difference between a 2D and an S4. As for an LS3 Whipple, 25, who knows? All right, so thank you, Brianna. My favorite two-stroke oil is right here. This is Glamis in a jar. This is our Dune Glamis in a jar candles. And when you burn them, they smell like two-stroke. So they're on our website if you guys want to check them out, theduneaddict.com. But yeah, they're friggin' awesome. Smells like two-stroke. My car's VW. I have looking to get them into you built my wire harness, fired up today, looking for a nice engine cover, custom. J35 turbo, 8 PSI, 400 horsepower, turned on 50-50. How much power can be gained at full race gas? Well, if you're making 400 right now on 8 pounds, I would not try to turn it up any more than that. You will end up sending a rod right out the side of the block. You're going to get a candle. Yeah, jump on the website, man. Check it out. We just got them back in stock. So they're pretty cool. I'm actually, see if I can find a lighter and I'll light this one. Bring me a lighter. J35 turbo on 8 pounds and it's making 400. Leave it alone. Don't turn it up unless you've got a built motor. Full switching. How much power can be gained for tuning for full race gas? I mean, honestly, on the dyno, I've seen guys make over 500 with a stock J. but a lot of the smell-o-vision, heck yeah, a lot of those guys that they claim they make that power, they're doing it in street cars, and street cars have a lot less load than a sand car does. Remember, a street car's got a tire like that, and a sand car's got a big ass paddle on it that's dug into the sand. So there's a big difference. Man, I bet we're going to be able to smell that. Yep. So the load is what kills the motors. And I wish I had a set of J35 rods around here. I show you. They're thin, very, very thin. So do not turn your car up if it's making 400. Be happy with it. Be happy that it's lived this long. Whoever tuned it is probably a really good tuner if it's still alive. Well, if you're looking for a custom engine cover, we can make you something when your car's done, dude. That's not a big deal. Yeah. I think these have, they're made with 927. That's what it smells like, but they're pretty badass. Big old tires, going into nowhere. Yeah. My buddy Trevor was J35, and it lasted one trip before it windowed the block in several places. Yeah, that they do if you don't tune them properly. And again, I like to keep stock motors right in the 350 to 375 range, maybe sometimes even down to 325. And they'll last. They'll last forever. You start turning them up and making power and dumping the clutch and trying to wheelie the car and putting a ton of load on it, it will definitely break a rod. That's for sure. My wife would kill me if I burn that candle inside. Thank you. Yeah, we're going to light this one up.
Let me grab the other one.
A what?
And it's not. Go ahead.
All right. Maybe that'll keep the mosquitoes out of here. We'll see how that smells. Oh yeah, I can smell it already. That smells cool. I like it. My friend hopped on his laptop and he said all the boost before it blew. Yeah, how much boost did it make? All of it. Armadillo is still some of the best trans out there. Yes, they are. Dave's Fuck It car. Yeah, Dave, what did Dave's Fuck It car make? I think it made in that range. Armadillo is still some of the best. Yeah, the best transmissions out there are probably, an S4D. That's going to hold a ton of power. Fortins they hold tons of power. Albins, those are the really high end ones. But price wise, for a sequential that's going to hold power, Mendiola is going to be the way to go. Oh yeah, that smells really good. I actually like that. Ran a Super M back in the day, 2-stroke. Yep. Updates on the mini truck. It is sitting on a trailer over there, untouched. I've had it on Marketplace up for trade for months, and people are just trying to trade me, stock Camrys and stuff for it. So I was looking for something cool. My sand car is going to be done hopefully before the end of the season. How much power can a 2D handle and live a good while? 400 is what I would say. If you make anything over that, I would be pulling the transmission out, especially if you're doing it a ton. I'd be pulling it out every season and going through it. I had a friend that had a big, heavy car, a PSD car with a 2D that made 550 horsepower, and he had to pull it. Whether he either pulled it and serviced it every season or it broke every season, one or the other. So that's about what a 2D can handle. I think they rate them at 375, something like that. Dave Unknown. Oh, yeah, that's Dave's car. That's my favorite San Limo with a turbo Honda in it, definitely. Our friend Dave has a car that's called Fuck It, and it's got a little here. I'll show it to you guys. He just texted it to me. See if you guys can see this in the camera. So that right there, that's my favorite San Limo with a J in it. That car is super duper clean. Turbo J on AEM, hopefully soon to be on Fuel Tech. I think we're going to get him out of the AEM and get him on Fuel Tech. That car is super duper clean. The owner is super meticulous, keeps it very, very nice, and a really beautiful car, and it rips. Electric power steering, pros and hold on. I'll still be looking for your ride. Maybe this year's Thanksgiving. Last year, it's getting ready for powder coat. I think. Yeah, it's still getting ready for powder coat. Andrea, what's up, Andrea? Let's see here. Electric power steering, pros and cons. There's not even really any cons to it. The pros are it's electric. If you don't have fluid in your car, if for some reason your engine blows up and you guys have to push your car, you can still turn the key on and steer the car. If you've ever had to try to push a car with hydraulic steering in it when the engine's not running, it is a mother effer. What's the best use for 3-inch drywall screws? You already know that, brother. Hold on, I gotta grab some. Just happen to have a box right here, my friend. Best use for 3-inch drywall screws is everything. They'll fix anything. Let's see. How much power? Okay. That's it. So anyways, back to the pros and cons of electric steering. It's a straight through design. So when you turn, you don't have to center it. So I don't think there's any cons to it. I've used it for years, and we've put it on tons of cars. Let's see. That one purple has twin turbo 2-seater is badass. That car, Raphael, no longer has that motor in it. And that car now has an LS in it, and it's probably going to twist in half. I heard it's really fast, and it's probably going to need some chassis bracing, but that's neither here nor there. He has moved on from the twin turbo motor. Can I build a 091 Bills Trans with an LS motor running for? Yes, you can. Brody, it is all about how you drive. My personal car, my big San Limo, was on a bus transmission and a LS motor for 3 years and never had any issues. Do you run into some rude customers at Glamis Fab during the season? You have no idea, my friend. Yes, we do. We try to handle everything with a smile there, but sometimes, you can't. Like we say, you can't please them all. But yeah, we do. We run into them. That's everywhere. Chris, right on. Thanks, brother. Range Rover Morgan Clark is building. Would be a sleek Glamis ride. I haven't seen it. I'll have to check that out. A Range Rover. Electric steering. Can you still steer with no power? Yes, you can. It's a straight through design. Can you cheat a wheelie with the motor hanging off the back, or can you just slip the clutch? No, you got to know how to wheelie or have some serious power. Am I looking for someone to video for you, Abraham? Not right now. I'm not. As I grow and get a little bit bigger, then that's definitely a possibility. Definitely, because it's hard. If you guys have watched a lot of my videos, I'm not in a lot of my videos when we're working at the shop because I'm always filming, and then when I'm not filming, I'm actually working. So, and I try to keep it really simple at the shop. I do everything on my phone. Brent from PFI got me turned on to iMovie and showed me how to work it, and it's awesome. So I definitely just try to film everything on my phone. 2,200 horsepower Lambo in the Range Rover. Wow, that's awesome. AZ or CA? I'm in Arizona, born and raised in California. If California was the California that it was when I was growing up, I would go back there, but it's not. Love your honesty. Well, Right on. Appreciate that. What else, guys? What else? I saw Andrea was in here. What's up, Andrea? Good to see you, girl. Let me scroll down and see if there's any more questions in here. Amen. Yeah, you left California in 2021. Me too. We're bringing old Cali back. Yeah, yeah, I wish it was what it was, but the house that I grew up in is $1.2 million now, and 1.2 or 1.4 million to own it. When are my shop walls going to get finished? Who knows, man? So yeah, the house I grew up in was it's like $1.4 million now. There's no way I could afford to go back there. That's insane. And I didn't live in some big extravagant house, you guys. It was just a single family home in a regular residential neighborhood. It's all about that zip code, man. Huntington Beach, Fountain Valley. You know, it's everything's over $1 million there. So unfortunately, can't go back. Everything in Santa Ana's $1 million, I'm sure. What do you think of the mini RCRs? Mini racers? I don't know what those are. Yeah, when my shop wall is going to be finished, I don't know. I would love the video for you on wrenching some cars with your team. Yeah, right on, man. Like I said, if I have to eventually get to that point where I'm going to need someone to video, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. As for my shop walls, who knows? The 3-wheelers, the Sandcraft is making. I did not know that Sandcraft are making 3-wheelers. I turned you on to soldering. It's a game changer. That's awesome, man. Definitely, right? It's awesome that I could inspire someone else to do it. That's cool, man. I appreciate you. You lived in Beaumont and moved to South Mississippi. It's way cheaper. Yeah, most definitely. I moved from Huntington Beach to Lake Elsinore, and then from Lake Elsinore to Arizona. Yeah, now living the dream. Yeah, it is awesome here in Arizona. I really like it. Gonna be honest though, I definitely miss my California friends. That's for sure. That's living a lifetime in California. I mean, that's where all my connections were. Everybody I knew, all my work hook connections, everything. That was a rough deal for me to move out here, but we just kind of bit the bullet and did it, and now we're here. And I definitely will not go back. But again, definitely miss my California friends. Now, if I could just convince all of them to move out here, then we'd be straight. That's the only thing you miss about. Yeah, definitely me too. But then, I went to Colorado this weekend and went and saw the boys at PFI and all our Colorado friends, and saw my boy Goofy Built, saw Shane and Steven and Mario and all the boys and the Bullocks, the brothers, and man, it made me want to move to Colorado. Man, those guys have such a cool, tight-knit group of friends. They're always doing stuff together. They're always hanging out or wrenching on cars or tuning or doing something. They all get together and work on one guy's car. It's really, really awesome. And I really miss them when I'm not in Colorado. And those guys make me feel at home from the second I walk in the door there. It's awesome. Those are definitely my brothers. Selling my Cali house and getting a shop like mine. So what I did is sold my house in California, bought a house here in Arizona that had a little bit of property, and then built the shop, put in a pool, and I did really well on my house in California. Let's see what else. I got an 03 660 motor. What would be the easiest to swap in an ATV or an off-road go-kart? I'd put that in a golf cart, dude. Reason I'd I'd put it in a golf cart because they make suspension kits and stuff for golf carts. That would be awesome. I've got the D-Bags car in the background. Who? This car here? Why do you call him a D-Bag? That's a great question. Why is he a D-Bag? Because he is one. Oh. Well, I guess everybody's entitled to their opinion. You know, their opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. So let me share with you. Let me share with you my experience with your so-called D-Bag. I'll get back to the questions in a minute. Everyone's always on his junk. Everyone's always on his junk because they all want something from him. So my experience with Garrett has been nothing but absolutely amazing. Literally nobody when it comes to YouTube. And I'm just some dude that works at a shop in Glamis. I appreciate all my subscribers and everything. But from the second that I met Garrett, you know, I was nothing to him. And he's like, hey, man, we should exchange phone numbers, you know, and we should hang out or we should try to do something. Like he took me and included me into his group of friends. Same thing with Brent from PFI and Jamie from PFI and Kyle from the Boosted Boys. Those guys immediately embraced me and made me kind of somewhat of a part of their group and their lives. You know, commercial break. Yeah, it might've been a commercial break. I talked to Garrett at least once or twice a month talking about his car or what have you. He has never been anything but awesome to me, to my wife, to my family, my daughter. You know, I've had people that I know that are fans of him and I've asked them to sign stuff for him, you know, and dude, he's nothing but gracious. So you can call him a D-Bag all you want to. I'll defend that guy. He's just one of the most solid dudes that I've ever met. So yeah, Garrett's hanger's incredible. Let's see. So anyways, like I said, everybody's entitled to their opinion. All my friends that are YouTubers have been nothing but gracious to me and appreciative of me and treated me with just as much respect as I treat them. So, and in life, you can't ask for anything more than that out of anybody, is to treat them exactly the way you want to be treated. And, you know, Garrett goes above and beyond, you know, along with Jamie and Brent and all the guys from PFI, Kyle. When I show up in Florida for an event, I get treated like a king. I get VIP access. I get backstage access. I get to go hang out with everybody. And again, he treats me with the same hospitality that I treat them with. So I've never seen Garrett say no to a fan. I've never seen him get mad at anybody, yell at anybody. I have seen him get upset one time while we were in the middle of a race while Garrett was working, and he wouldn't sign an autograph for a kid because he was in the staging lanes getting ready to go almost 200 miles an hour. So his mind was not on signing something for a fan. So he asked them to wait until after the event, and Garrett stays at every event until every fan is gone and signs everything and takes all the pictures in the world. There's a lot of celebrities out there in this world in this day and time that don't do that at all. And Garrett is one of them. Every event I've been to with him, every time I've seen him anywhere, every time I've seen him in Glamis, not even promoting or doing anything, he stops what he's doing. He stops having fun with his friends to go talk to fans. So, like I said, everybody's entitled to their opinion. You have yours, I have mine. I actually have interaction with the guy on a personal level, and I think he's one of the most solid dudes I've ever met, along with Brent, Jamie, Kyle, Tom, all of our ever all of my other friends. So And again, I'm an honest dude. If he was a D-bag, I'd tell you he was a D-bag to me, but he's not. And I've never seen him be that way, whether we're out to dinner or in a social setting or private setting, anywhere. He's just a solid guy. Is it hard to install heated seats like I did with Cletus's rail? No, not if you have some hog ring pliers. You can get yourself some seats and or get yourself some heaters and take them apart. Garrett is a hard worker and deserves what he has. Garrett is probably the hardest working guy I know on YouTube, man. And he is constantly moving and always going. Sometimes when I text him or call him, I don't get a call back for 2 or 3 days. And it's because he's that booked and swamped. You know, it just is what it is. There's always going to be hate. You can't please everybody. It is what it is. But like I said, I'll move on from that subject now. I've pretty much put it out there. But Garrett, along with all the rest of the guys, they're all solid guys. Yeah, you met him at China Wall. Super cool dude. Took a picture with your son. Yep, most definitely. Just because someone lives a life you have doesn't make them a D-bag. Definitely. Off-road go-kart is, yep, that's awesome. Do sand tires dig a lot? If they're on, yeah, they dig no matter what. Even on wider wheels. You got that paddle tire. But don't mention Thomas, he's my best friend. You have that paddle digging into the sand. So it's definitely going to put a lot of load on the car. It doesn't matter. So Joe Diaz, yeah, you met him at China Wall, super cool dude. Yeah, definitely, man. So check this out. Just to show you, I'm going to give you one more example, and then we'll move on from the Garrett thing. So every year that I went on Rocky Mountain Race Week, my wife would make me cookies, and I would take them with me and kind of share them with the guys and whatever. And out of the blue, Garrett came to he came to my house to film when we did the sandcar wheelies, and he was out here in Arizona, and he remembered my wife's cookies. So she made them for him. And then 2 years goes by and he doesn't see my wife, and we show up at the Freedom Factory for his event, and he pushes me out of the way and wants to go see my wife before me because he remembers her cookies. Like, who does that? Like, it's just, he goes out of his way to make regular people feel special. And I think that's really cool of him. So yeah, he's a great dude. So we're going to move on from that. And that's my rant about Gary. And that's why I work on his car, because he's a solid dude. So anyways, Harvey has a regular day job and still has energy to make these videos. Yeah, I try, man. I've got 4 videos in the pipe on my phone that I still have to finish editing. And I just went to Colorado this weekend. So I probably should have let my wife drive on the way back so I could edit, but it is what it is. My cookies are something to remember. Yeah, they sure are. What else, guys? We got a little bit more time here. It's only 8 o'clock. Upgrades for my new Can-Am X3 4-seater. Gusset kit on the lower A-arms, bro. My computer is all about remembering my cookies. Most definitely. I like cookies. We all like cookies. How long is the drive from Florida to Arizona? It is long. It's like, if you take your time, it's 3 days. Like, I don't try to push it. So I'll stay in a hotel every night. So usually 2 to 3 days. Yeah. So speaking of, hospitality, I get to last year, I think it was last year, I took my Honda out there to race it. There was drag racing at Cletus's event. So we towed all the way out there to Florida, and building a Tesla Tatum. Yes, he's still building a Tesla Tatum. Drove all the way out there, and then Kyle, I didn't want to leave my race car on the open trailer at the hotel, and Kyle's like, "We'll just leave it at my house." So, like, Kyle's just totally cool. Let me leave my rig at his house. It's secure. Like, and then just, I don't know. So, anyways, those guys are all cool. V6 Baja Bug, who wins, 3.0 or 3.5? Asking for Thomas. I think the 3.5 is going to take it. Drive to Florida, Arizona, 3 days. That makes it possible you let her sleep. Yeah, true. What's up with your boy who does the Tesla swaps? Yes, he is still building a Tesla swap Tatum. He was in the middle of that car, and then Jorge's mind is just constantly moving. So he's built a couple other electric off-road vehicles in between, but the Tatum they're doing really, really nice. They're going to try to make the all-wheel drive out of a Plaid work in it. Really cool. When am I going to post my next video? As soon as I get done editing it, but probably tomorrow. I'll get a little bit of time to edit. I've got to make a couple of wire harnesses tomorrow after I get off my regular job. So, yes, yeah, the 3.5 takes the 3.0 every time. I think so. What else, guys? Who else is in here? Big D, you still in here? You watching this? Am I on your big screen at home or in your garage? 3.5 to 3.0 difference, Baja Bug. Well, it's 3 liters to 3.5 liters. I think the 3.0 only makes like 170 horsepower. The 3.5 makes 235 or something like that. What PSI should I run on 32-inch Sandcrafts on a side-by-side? I don't know much about Sandcrafts tires. I've seen a couple sets of them, but any kind of vulcanized tire like that, we run 20 PSI on a sand car. In a side-by-side, 15 to 18 probably to be on the safe side. My hourly rate on motor and wiring and motor installation. Me personally, I'm like 135 an hour, somewhere in that range. Just depends on what it is. If it's just like a J35 motor for motor, it's like a flat rate. How long am I keeping Garrett and Kyle's cars for? Future plans with them? Great question. Garrett's car right here, Cletus's car. I really would love to put 2-inch hollow spindles in the front of this car and midboard hubs in the back. Is that a triple throwdown? It's a double throwdown. And so a lot of people say, oh, it's not a real car. Right up here where my finger, God, the stupid camera. Right there, somebody cut this car off and redid the whole back half. So, I'm going to keep their cars as long as they want me to. Long as they keep coming to Glamis, I'll keep prepping them and getting them ready. This car I would love to tear down and rebuild from scratch. I'd love to do the same thing to Kyle's. Full paint, powder coat, strip it down, go through everything, clean it, make it nice, brand new again. So we're going to talk about that when I see Garrett or when I talk to him next. So those are the future plans with them, unless Garrett's got other plans. Every time I talk to him, it's for sale, then it's not for sale, then it is not, but whatever. He can't replace what he has for what he's in that car. It's a LS3 with a Whipple on it with a sequential transmission. So those two parts alone paid for the car. Plus it's got bypasses all the way around. So what he paid for the car just bought all that. Yeah, it seems like a hodgepodge. Most definitely it is. So up in the front there, it's definitely an extreme. And then, like I said, right there. Oh, right there. They cut it. They added the car, and then the whole back half and the engine cage was all done by somebody else. It's definitely not extreme. We'll be able to go to the Duner's Diner behind the electric car. That's a good question. Behind the electric Tatum. That's a great question. I don't think they know how much. It just all depends on how much battery they can squeeze into that thing. They're going to try to put an entire pack in it, so we'll see. What's the most important thing to know for someone coming to Glamis for the first time? Never ride alone. Get a pass. Get a pass, first and foremost, so you don't get a ticket. And never ride alone. Not even if you're just going 2 or 3 dunes over. Your thoughts on Tensor tires? Light, but do they last? Yeah, they're decent. Our Revenge cars, Predator and Revenge were the same company, and that was Justin was the name of the owner, and he now owns Shock Therapy. So Revenge, Predator cars. The owner of Shock Therapy was the owner of Revenge and cars and Predator. And then I think they sold to Fox. I think Fox owns Shock Therapy now. Light front does wheelies. What more does he really need? Believe it or not, that car's not that light in the front. It's pretty heavy. It's just got a lot of power. But yeah, it wheelies. That car does everything that he wants it to do. So why change it? Let's just make it pretty. I rarely see you work on SCUs at Glamis Fab. Hang on, let me get back to that. Let's see. V6 Honda with a 5-rib trans, Baja Bug, 33s or 33s would be fine. Rarely see you work on SCUs at Glamis Fab. Yeah, we work on quite a few of them. SCUs, the biggest problem we see with those is people don't maintain their Heim joints because SCU cars have a lot of Heims on them. And they don't maintain them, especially the ones with the 5-link in the rear. And they don't break. And don't forget to have a whip. Oh yeah, make sure you get a whip. Good call, Cher. What do I think of Boosted Boys Kyle's turbo Honda V6 turbo rig? What do I think of it? It's actually right outside this door, sitting right there. It's an older car. It could stand to be updated, but it's pretty badass. It's fast. And then it needs some suspension tuning, but we did put a big set of Rogues on it to help with that. And yeah, it's cool. I love the power, but do I need to bring my inverter to ride with them? That's funny. Love learning about Santa Rails. Keep it up. F them side by sides. Heck yeah. What is my thoughts on Dash Link? I don't even know what that is. Sorry for being ignorant in that one. Honda V6 powered turbo rig. What else, guys? I'll go a few more minutes. Got some more questions. I think this worked out pretty good on a laptop instead of using my phone. What's up, Josh? Is Cletus's car faster than Razzle? I need my 5-link adjusted. Heck yeah. Is Cletus's car faster than Razzle? That is going to be settled eventually one of these days by the two of them. I'm not going to say which car I think is faster. I've driven them both. But yeah, I'm not going to say which car is what I think is faster. Hang on, guys. I'm getting text messages like crazy here. Okay, so Cletus's car and Razzle. Like I said, I'm not going to say which one's what I think is faster. I'm going to let the two of them settle it when they both show up in Vegas. So what else? I can tell you this much. They both have sequential transmissions in them, and they both make 600-ish horsepower. Let's see here. I got a bunch. I got to scroll down now. How did I learn about electrical? Great story. Great question. When I was 16 or 17 years old, I had a 68 Volkswagen Squareback that I bought from a neighbor friend of mine, and it had a shitload of electrical problems. The dome light didn't work. The turn signals didn't work. It was an old Volkswagen. It was a Squareback. It was beat up. Half the harness was chopped up and butt connectored. And so I bought a book. I bought a Haynes manual for my 68 Volkswagen Squareback, and I looked in the back of it, and it had a complete wiring diagram of the whole car. And I actually looked at that, and I understood it. Or so I thought I understood it. So I had another friend of mine who was an electrician, and they had ordered a bunch of wire for a job, but they ordered stranded wire instead of the THHN copper for a job. So they had a bunch of reels of regular like electrical wire for like automotive. So he gave them to me for free. So one day when I got really frustrated with my electrical not working in my car, I ripped every piece of wire out of the car from front to back. And my friend that lived with me at the time, my buddy Milton, he came home from work and saw a big pile of wire next to my car. And he said, hey, what the hell's that? And I said, that's all the wire out of my car. And he laughed and he goes, yeah, that fucking thing's never going to run again. And I said, okay, we'll see. So he went to bed. He took off, comes back home, goes to work, comes back home. The very next day, I had rewired the car from the front all the way to the back, and everything worked, even the dome light. Turn signals worked, everything. So that's what got me started doing electrical in cars. We were Volkswagen kids back in the days, and we could not afford to pay other people to do our stuff for us. So two revenge did Kongs on my old rail and added a Y-bar on the dash. I always remember their chassis was a tad weird, but in a good way. Yeah, and they used really large tubing as well. I'd like to go do a ride again with Joe Fab. Yeah, when his car's back out there, he'll probably take people for rides. How many electric dirt bikes? Have you seen any electric dirt bikes or sand rails? How do the batteries hold up in the desert? Pretty well, actually, Cassidy. My friend Jorge has got a couple. He's got a Tesla-powered Can-Am, and he's actually building a Tatum right now that's Tesla Plaid-powered. Average powder coat cost depends on your color and how much work and what you want. Usually, I would say for a chassis and arms and everything, you're in the $2,000 to $5,000 range. And again, it all depends on what you want. Will I be in Glamis this weekend of the 8th? Yes, I will. I will be working this weekend. Oh, the weekend of the 8th. Of March 8th? No, probably, I don't know. Maybe. Dash Link is a Bluetooth that you plug into. Oh, okay. Yeah, those things are pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, those work good. My money would be on Razzle if the whoops aren't too big. Yeah, maybe. Tommy, what up, brother? Am I going to PFI Speedfest this year? Yes. My plan is to do all 4 events. I was actually at PFI over the weekend and was talking with the boys that we were tuning, not Cleater's car, but another sand car I got sitting over here. First ever sand car and fuel tech. Jamie tuned it for me. So yeah, definitely planning on doing all 4 events. I'm actually going to take the enclosed in my Honda. We'll go to Pueblo and do the first event and then leave my rig out there. And then I'll just fly back and forth so I can do them. Tell those guys at Rogue Sand Tire to produce more quad tires. Okay, I'll talk to them about it. Dash Link for my series. It's an Autometer app. Yeah, cool. I also installed car stereos and alarms. Yes, I did. For a very, very long time, I did that. I did car audio and electronics I still do it. I mean, I've been doing it my whole life. But I used to compete. I used to build huge trucks that would vibrate the doors off. What is PFI? PFI is Brent and Jamie from PFI Speed. It's a shop in Colorado. It's Parts Finders International. They have a YouTube channel. You can check them out at PFI Speed on YouTube. Have I raced with Garrett in a Crown Vic yet? No, I have not. That's a good question. No, I haven't. I'm hoping to get that opportunity at some point in time. But we'll see. We'll see how that works out. Yeah, definitely see you out there, Tommy, for sure. Dash link. So yeah, I did cardio and electronics for a lot of years. I competed in the IASCA division. It was the International Auto Sound Challenge. I had trophies that would line up the whole friggin' house. I built tons of high-end, like high SPL stereo systems, 612s, 812s, 418s, 618s, stuff like that. I did it a lot. I worked at Audio Las Vegas for years. Yeah, I was a big Orion guy. As a matter of fact, over here in my shop, and I have 5 Orion 225s, 250 HCCA. I've got a Serval Vega Stroker over here on my shelf. Yeah, I was way, way into it. Once my walls are done in my shop, all those 225s usually hang up on the wall. Let's see. What fan temps do I recommend a sand car with a stock 5.3 with thermostat and 2 fans? If your stock 5.3 is in a sand car, I recommend that you take the thermostat out of it, and there's a little hole behind the thermostat. Stick a freeze plug in there and drill a 1/4-inch hole in it. And then fan temp, come on at 195 or come on at 210 and shut off at 195. Wasn't he the one that was sued by the EPA or something? Brent. Yeah, Brent. The EPA came after Brent along with JH Diesel and a few others. Yes. I need to. Yes, I would love to. That's totally up to Garrett on whether or not I get to race in one of those events. Do you have a funniest broken rail story that has come into Glamis Fab? Josh, what is Speedfest? PFI Speedfest is a drag racing event that the guys from PFI Speed put on. It's an import event. Do I have funniest broken rail story? Oh, I got to think of it. There is a really good one. Oh, yeah. Check it out. So we had these guys that were trying to bleed the brakes on a sand rail, and they just kept adding fluid. It wouldn't bleed. It wouldn't bleed. It wouldn't bleed. So they finally brought it to us, and they're like, we think the master cylinder is bad. Let's just replace it. And I was like, all right, cool. So it was a full-bodied car where the hood wouldn't come off. So I had to dive under the dash to get to the master cylinder. And I took the lid off the master cylinder. And inside, a master cylinder, a sand car, there's a little rubber boot like that holds the fluid from sloshing around. And when you fill the master cylinder, you have to take that rubber boot out to put the brake fluid in. And these guys have been working on this car for like 2 days. They couldn't get the brakes to bleed. Well, what they were doing is that rubber boot that's inside there, they never took it out when they put brake fluid in it. So they just filled the top of the rubber boot with like this much brake fluid. It never got into the master cylinder. So they were trying to bleed it. They were bleeding it for 2-3 days, and they could never get it to bleed. So we had a good, that's what Joe calls taking a shit and then taking your pants off. All right, what else here? I need to finish broken rail. I wish you could. Do you think a built 091 trans will hold up well with a J30 engine? Absolutely. See what it does. It reconnected me.
She's like, we have no fake goods. I said, well,
all right, guys, I'm still here. I think we had a little issue with the internet connection. Let's see what happens. It's not that cold. Still working it. Any Hodge pulling these tricks? YouTube has no clue. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, boys. Seems to be working good now. You got the remote, B? Let me see that real quick. Oh, you know what? Let me see that.
you have to close out of it.
Nope. I think you got to fast forward it. Let me see. All right, guys, I'm still here. Ken, I'm still here. Let's see.
If you're gonna be in here, turn all of them.
Yeah, there we go. All right, we're back. Yep, cool. Yeah, there we go. All right, we're back. Yep, cool. All right. Yeah, I'm back. I got a little closer to the internet. I don't know what happened. I think YouTube freaked out a little bit, but give me a second, guys, and I'll walk back out to the shop here. Now it's working. Yeah. Hey, bring me a sweatshirt. Sorry, guys. I'm going to walk back out to the shop. Stupid internet. So that's kind of why I don't like doing laptop versus my phone. But anyways, all right, let's get back out to the shop here. Thermal throttle? Yeah, maybe. All right. Found your channel with Garrett Kyle's content. Really enjoy the videos. Keep up the good work, bro. I got to hit it. All right. Hey, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. All right. What else, guys? What else? A couple of us still in here. Who else has got a good question for me? Should I left my phone in there? Oh, well. Fun Haver, San Diego. What's the best all-around sand rail with no budget? Whew. Well, if there's no budget, then the sky's the limit. Wow, that's a loaded question because I'm partial to sand limo, but there's a lot higher end car out there. There's Tatum, Racer, Funko. Geez. If you're looking for a car that just dunes, I'd say Funko. That's probably my favorite car besides a San Limo, just because they ride good. And those cars are actually not long travel, they're mid travel. Yeah, there's just so much out there. That's kind of a loaded question. Ken, my thoughts on VW. Okay, how strong is a K24 trans? That's from earlier. Buckshot. Yeah, buckshots are okay. Andrew's a nice guy. We have fixed a lot of his cars. They all break, but whatever. How strong is a K24 trans? I have an idea for a buggy rail. Not strong enough to put a paddle tire behind. Unfortunately, I would venture into making it into a transaxle and getting an adapter plate. The other problem is the gear ratios. They're too wide for a, for a sand car. You'll be stuck in first and second gear. Old VW and K swap it with details for others to follow. Yeah, maybe we could do that. Any motor I prefer. I am a Honda guy, like I put this down a little more. I am a Honda guy, but for a sand rail, you can't beat the torque of an LS, guys. LS motors just. I broke my SCU every trip. It's all about if you're using it or just putting around to be seen. Yeah, true. They all, like I said, they all break. There's not one brand that doesn't break more than others. We do, however, not see, believe it or not, and I know this sounds totally biased because I work there and I work with Joe. We don't see a lot of sand limos in our shop. Why is that? I don't know. They either don't break or, when we do see sand limos come into the shop, they're always on the other side of the gate. They park outside. So we just don't see a lot of them in the shop. Joe did a really good job designing that car, and they just don't break, guys. I mean, don't get me wrong. They do break. Like I said, they all break, but did I ever drive the LT4 San Limo? Absolutely I did. I drove the crap out of that car and don't see a ton being beat on either. Yeah, no. Listen, that high-low guy just said, did I ever drive that LT4 San Limo? Yes, I did. The original engine out of that LT4 San Limo is actually the one that's going in my car. But yeah, with the LT4 in it, that thing made 770 horsepower to the tire. And I drove the ever-loving bejesus out of that car. And it performed. And it was every bit of what you would think it should be. Ken, go back to me. What was your question? It just says have Weddle. Oh, what are my thoughts about VW? About VW what, Ken? VW powered rail? Don't get me wrong, dude. I'm a big VW guy. Have I ever thought about the high mounts on the San Limo? The high mounts on the San Limo limit visibility. Are you talking about the high front shock mounts? If that's the case, no, they don't. What are my thoughts on a 2386? Ken, my thoughts on a 2386. Let me grab this and walk over here. Have you seen my Volkswagen, bud? So yeah, like I said, I'm a Volkswagen guy. Just not for sand cars. Just not for me. In this day and age, if I had a smaller sand car, like a mid-travel deal or whatever, then I would do Volkswagen engine, but not anymore. It's getting cold in my shop. I'm going to put a sweater hoodie on here. Your thought was to run an axle into a diff of a Ford 9-inch, possibly. Yes. Okay. So we can talk about that. Get my hoodie on here because I'm freezing. So there's some off-road, like rock crawler buggies that guys have made. They run two 9-inch, rear ends or whatever it be, a Dana 44 or whatever. You take the Honda motor and turn it sideways and then run the axles this way and that way out to the front rear ends. Yeah, it has been done. Yep, and it works. I had a 4-seat. If I had a 4-seat Funko car and I went for the VA and put the GTR Skyline twin turbo charged motor in it. Yeah, you could do that, but the problem is then you have a Skyline motor, a GTR Skyline motor and a sand rail, and no one has parts. Why are GSR and Hayabusa rails so expensive to build, but don't sell anything close for the cost of building them? I don't know. I've never built one of those before. I've had some friends that have had a bunch, but never drive a limo. Just always thought they looked a tad intrusive. Yeah, that the front high shock mounts look a little weird, but what I can tell you, man, from driving them, they work. They absolutely work. My car, we took the upper shock mounts and cut them off, and we went to the newer style San Limo shocks mounts that are down low. Just quick. Would solve gearing and avoid the price of a transaxle. Yeah, most definitely. Mid-travel 2386. Hang on, Joe thought. Yeah. What are the benefits of a mid-bore over a stub setup outside of strength, I'm guessing? That's it, is strength. You think you could put a Porsche engine with the stock transaxle and a sand rail? Yeah, you could. Unfortunately, just the gearing in that stock transaxle, the gearing in the stock transaxles are designed for street cars. You definitely have to gear it shorter so you can use that power in the sand. Back to the stub axle versus midboard. So the stub axle in this car right here is that long, and it's about that big around. So all 600 of that horsepower going to a big ass paddle tire out here is going through a stub axle that's that long. A midboard hub, the CV is actually part of the CV spins the entire hub. There's a giant bearing in there that's this big, and the CV spins the hub versus the CV being connected to a stub axle. So I actually think in a midboard hub, you have less drivetrain loss on getting horsepower to the tire than you do getting it from a stub axle to a midboard. You broke them all the time and it was annoying. Yes, it definitely annoying breaking stub axles. In my car, I'm doing midboard hubs in my car, 930 midboards. I did have stub axles in my car, but I had the Gear 1, what they call their super stubs, and they're 9 inches long and they're huge and the bearings in them are big. So that's why mine lasted so long. They weren't a stock style. This car has like a stock Volkswagen style hub in it. And then the bearing, hang on guys, real quick. I have a wheel bearing. I'm going to show you what's in that car. Hang on. All right, guys. Sorry, I'm back. So check this out. That right there is the wheel bearing out of this car, the rear wheel bearing. Look how small that is. So you're pushing 660 horsepower, or no, not 660. This car made 625 through this wheel bearing, and you're hanging. So you've got this Chevy style 5-lug, right? Then you're hanging an adapter on here with a rotor, or you're putting a rotor on here. Then you're hanging a Chevy 5 to Volkswagen Wide 5 adapter. And then you're putting a 150-pound or whatever, depending on what tire and rim combo you have, 100-pound giant 35-inch rim and tire, and you're hanging it off of this stub axle bearing. So this is why I want to switch this car to midboards. This is the reason right here. These things are absolute junk, and they're expensive. You buy one of these from us at Glamis, it's over $500. You're done. So that's why we want to get rid of these out of Cleet's car. So Porsche engine. Is Polaris ever going to come out with a new car that doesn't need a belt? Amanda, that's a great question. Let me pull this down so there's not so much glare. That's a great question. If somebody could come up with a centrifugal clutch setup for a Razor that was chain driven, you'd be a billionaire. The only problem with chain driven centrifugal clutches is noise. They'll be very loud. Ask Joe, my stuff bangs. Oh, I left that in there. Thank you. Yeah, oh, I'm sure your VW stuff rips. The problem with VW stuff in a sandrail is just there's just so many other cheaper alternatives out there, Ken. Like for instance, I can buy a J35 Honda motor for less than $1,000, $1,200 in that range, and as well as I do, it costs $5,000 to $6,000 to build a big 2-liter Volkswagen motor that'll make, and that I'll say, take that back. That J Series Honda motor makes 230 or 245 horsepower to the flywheel. How much does it cost to get 245 horsepower out of a Volkswagen flywheel, or to a Volkswagen flywheel? As well as I do, it is a ton. So To come on over there. What kind of razor come out with a car without a belt? Yeah, YXZs don't have belts. When am I going to make a video of Joe's Beam car? We're taking it to the dyno in the next week or two. I'll make a video on it then. I'll do some more research. Thanks, Harvey. What's my drink of choice? Twisted Teas, bro. Come on by. Big crank, big bore, Duner power. Yeah, my turbo VW is big crank, big bore. It's a 2332. Does Raw still make cars? I don't think Raw Motorsports is still around. No. Old School Roundup coming up. Yes, it is. We'll have Joe's car out there for a roundup. Must have got Braden his free shirt. Yeah. Yes, Ken, you can buy barrels for $450, but what's it cost you to put a complete motor together that's going to make 260 horsepower at the flywheel? 260, you're not going to do it NA. You're going to have to turbo it. So, and probably fuel inject it. My Volkswagen motor over there in that car was probably, with the turbo and everything, was in upwards of over $10,000 to build. It made 532 to the tire. Have I ever thought making the Gia into a turbo drag Gia? You don't want to hear it. No. Hey, no, that's cool, man. Ken's a Volkswagen guy, true, and I get it. I love him too. I always have. And I still do. You guys saw my bug over there. Old School Roundup, yep. Braden is Joe's nephew, and he is autistic, so we're going to cut him some definite slack. Making the Gia into a drag turbo Gia, most definitely not, because the car's too complete and too original to cut up. How much for a J-Series stock computer already done by you for an A4? Just a computer. I kind of don't like to separate computers from harnesses because I sell them as a package. If you get a computer and send it to me, I'll modify it for you. Go back and know me already. He said what it is. Yeah, my motor's definitely over 10 grand to build. Yeah, that Gia is just way too complete and too nice of a car to cut up to make into a drag car. And I think my wife's going to enjoy it. It's actually, reason I bought that car, I went to a Cars and Coffee at Doug's Bugs and Bunnies last summer or 2 summers ago, and we took my bug. And you can't hear yourself think in that car. It's that loud. I mean, it's basically a drag car. And, we're cruising. And don't get me wrong, I get all the nice waves and people are like, thumbs up, cool car. But when I'm trying to have a conversation with my wife in the car and you have to scream so she can hear you, she didn't like it. We had a good time at the Cars and Coffee, hung out with Fish and all the boys over there. It's really awesome. But then she's like, your car's loud. I don't like it. It's obnoxious. I don't want to ride in it. Oh, yeah, and it's yours too. It's definitely. So I got a deal on that Gia, and I really want her to go do Volkswagen stuff with me. So I just got her the Gia, and she's got her own, and she'll be good to go. Let's see, what else? Would I put an LS in an old rail that had a VW in it? Meant something more affordable for new people to transition from their old VWs. No, I would do a Honda. Those motors are more than most Hondas now. No, I would put a Honda in it for sure. For sure. Because you can, if you want to do your own Honda setup, you can source everything from a junkyard yourself if you're somewhat mechanical. That's the cool part about Hondas. You can get an ECU and a computer from a junkyard, send it to me. I'll modify it for you, so make it standalone, and then you can drop it in the car. If you're doing your own Honda swap from VW, you can probably do it relatively cheap. You can get a JDM motor, I think, for between $600 and $1,200. So which computer's best? I believe I brought you the wrong one last time. What year Odyssey? You want a 99 Odyssey, bud? Murday or Fortin? Do you mean Mindy or Fortin? I would go with a Fortin. If I had Well, I take it back. I'd put an S4 in my car before a Fortin. Fortin's going to handle power, but Fortins are noisy. Hondas are easy, inexpensive, and everywhere. Yes, that is true. Yeah, definitely do. I've got a video on my channel. If you go back a year or so ago, I did a blue SU ultralight that went from Volkswagen to Honda. Don't be hurt when you're passed by me. Spent 2 years on a CR500. Man, you spent 2 years on a CR500. That's a bike of men right there. That's a lot of torque on two wheels. That's for sure. All right, guys. What time is it? Is it 9? All right, man. I'm gonna go 30 more minutes, and then we'll call it. So, what else you got? What else? My boy Adam. Thanks for the knowledge. Yeah, man. Anytime. I've been waiting patiently for the King versus Fox question. So no one's put it out there yet. So let's talk about my steering option. My electric power steering option. What do you want to know? I have an 01 Odyssey in my Bug, 3.5, and it's the best. Purchased it from a JDM spot, Long Beach. Comes with a warranty, paid under $1,000. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, you can get the motors for $600 to $1,200 range, depending on who has them and which one you're getting and what have you. So, yeah, they rip. Yes, read it again. Please talk about your steering option for YHE cars. I don't know what a YHE car is. I've ran both King and Fox. Honestly, couldn't tell the difference if my eyes were closed. Yeah, that's kind of my same opinion. Our friend Barry had a 2-seat. It's all about springs and proper setup. You got it. Our friend Barry had a 2-seat San Lamo Squirt, and it had Kings on it. Had Foxes on it, and that thing was dialed. Had just a naturally aspirated J35 in it with a 2D, and I drove that car down Gecko from the entrance to Gecko to Pad 4 as fast as the car would go. I think I went 92 miles an hour, 92 or 96 miles an hour in that car, and dude, it freaking ripped, and it had Foxes on it, and I have Kings on my car, but yeah, like you said, I can't really tell the difference. Joe loves Kings. He's good friends with Mike from King, and we get a good deal on Kings, so we run them. I don't have much of an answer for the King versus Fox thing, but Mike from King sure does send us a lot of swag, so he's a cool dude. Mike and Brett both are cool dudes. You find it odd that no one is using Kings from the factory UTV world. That's I never really thought of that. They're not really, They're using Foxes. I do find that kind of odd, but maybe they couldn't come to an agreement with them. I don't know what the deal is, but that's a great question. I'm going to ask Mike from King when I see him. Maybe they just couldn't come to an agreement or what. But I know that, like I said earlier, the guy who owns Shock Therapy, who used to own Revenge and Predator, Fox bought them. So Fox owns Shock Therapy. So, or sold a division of Shock Therapy or what have you, but they're all Fox now. What do I think about the new Alumacraft sand rails? I think Alumacraft builds a very, very nice, solid car. And they are, Dave and I talked about this the other day. Alumacrafters, they're kind of like, and I say Alumacrap, but they're not crap. They're good cars. It's just a funny thing to say. They're a no frills car, right? They are just down and dirty, like not dirty. How do I put it? They're just stout cars. They're badass and they're no frills. You know, they don't come with loud stereos or all that stuff. They just work. OEM for Fox or Walker. They make bolt-in kings for all. Yes, they do. I pulled my J35 A4 with less than 100K at Pull and Save for $250. Yeah, see, exactly. For $250. It was so fun doing that in Barry's car. Yeah, it was a rip. My wife was in the car with me when I was ripping. Shock Therapy lived in Ocotillo forever. Yeah, they have a shop or they have a spot on Vendors Row here in Glamis as well. Justin, I think is the owner's name, or was the owner, or what have you. But yeah, but see, that guy pulled his motor for $250. The only thing about that at Pull and Save Motors is kind of sketchy. Is you got to make sure you get it out of a wrecked car, because at least that way you know it was running. What's the average cost to have someone do live shock tuning? We use Carl from Shock Talk, and I believe his going rate is roughly $4,000 to tune a car. I believe it's $1,000 a corner if you got bypasses, so it's $500 a shock. And what that consists of is he'll go for a ride with you before he takes your car. He'll see what it does, how it performs. He'll drive with you, and then he will take your car, rebuild and revalve your shocks, respring them. Too rich for your blood. Yeah, he'll respring them, do everything he needs to do, and then he brings the car back out to Glamis, and then gets you in the car again, goes out with you, does the fine tuning, and then talks to you about what your car can and cannot do. Unfortunately, a lot of guys will get their cars. I got my shocks tuned. I'm Robbie Gordon now, and they think they can just go hit the biggest whoops out there at fast as the car will go. And it's just not the case. A lot of times, most of these sand cars are not designed they're not trophy trucks. They will handle the whoops pretty decent, but they're not trophy trucks. Funhaver SD says Doug's X5 has a great breakdown for DIY shock tuning. Breaks down the math. Hey, you guys know about his car, right? You know that that's not. It is a Buckshot X5, but any of you guys know about the rear end of Doug's car and the rear arms on that car? Anyone? So in case you guys don't know, Doug's X5 was refabbed by San Limo. All the rear shock mounts, the rear trailing arms were all cut off of that car, and Joe at San Limo redid the whole back of that car. That's why it works so good, just in case anybody was wondering. And I don't know. I know Doug put a video up about it a while back, but I don't know if he took it down or not, but it's got that X5 has my electric power steering in it, and Joe redid the whole back half of the car. And then Brandon, our TIG welder, TIG welded the whole back of that chassis and all the shock mounts. So it's not really a Buckshot anymore. It's more like a Buck a limo. Buck a limo or limo buck, whatever you want to call it. But like Joe said, the buck stop. Joe always says the buck stops here when those cars come in. Joe's got a great fix if you guys have X5s for the rear suspension problems on those cars, and he'll set it up to make it work. They really work. Doug's car works great now. I think he had a lot of trouble tuning the suspension in that car. And that's why he brought it to Joe. I don't know if anybody will tell you that, but I will. Yeah, he rips it for sure. Yeah, I don't know if Doug represents the fact that Joe did it anymore or not. I haven't looked on his YouTube channel in a while. But Doug's a good guy. He's a nice guy. But yeah, like I said, it's got my electric steering in it, and it has the whole back end of the car was refabbed by San Limo. The limo, the two limo truck, the limo Sand truck's a sexy, but yeah, it is definitely. I have a friend that has a broken spine. Don't jump, period. Yeah. Can I jump my car, but I don't jump like the swing set jump and stuff like that. It's gnarly. I don't know if you guys saw that. The guy that broke his back at swing set a couple years ago. Gnarly. Too much for me. There's one up for sale right now on CBM. A San Limo truck. I actually think I'll have to look on their website. The last time I was over there was right before Chris and Bruce retired. And if it's the red truck with the gull wing doors on it, that's I wouldn't pay very much for that truck. Let's put it that way. Red and black one. Yeah, that truck was in Qatar or Dubai for a very long time. It was used in a like a Red Bull commercial or something over there. And then if you look at it, it's got chrome King shocks on it, and they're completely rusted. Yeah, it looks beat on. Well, that's what they do over there is they beat on them. And then they just leave them sit, and the salinity is so high in the air there, and the rust just destroys them. So that truck needs to be completely torn down and rebuilt. Send the shocks back to King. Yeah, a lot of it looks rusted. Yeah, I saw it in person like 6 or 7 months ago, right after they got it back. And the bed sides are gone. They lost them. And unfortunately, I'm not sure. I think Joe might have one mold for a fender to remake the rear fenders. I know he got rid of a lot of those molds, but I think we can still make the back fenders for those because they had a tendency of ripping fenders off when they were wheeling them. But yeah, that whole truck needs to be completely torn down. It does have a 454 twin turbo setup in it with like a Ross manifold, and it's a badass motor and trans setup, and I'm pretty sure that truck has an Albins in it, an Albins sequential. So, yeah, I'd love to buy that truck and update it, but it's just, unfortunately, to have to go through it is going to take so much money because of all the rust. We'd have to take it down, take it all down to the chassis, have the chassis stripped. Yeah, it's an Albins. Yeah, that's what I thought. It was an Albins sequential in that truck. I want to say that truck, no, that's not the one. There was another one that was twin turbo like that truck, and then it got switched to a blower. We call it the Skittles truck because the paint looked like Skittles. I think that truck made 1,400 or 1,500 horsepower, something like that. So what are they asking for it on CBM's website, if you know? Parked on the beach forever. Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. I would love to go over there and check out Liwa and the drags over there and all that kind of stuff. It looks awesome. I know Wilkie's been over there a couple times. Last time I saw Blake, I talked to him about that. He said it was pretty cool. They had a good time. Yeah, I'm not sure who owned that truck, if it was Shekab Duran or Durham or Abdullah or one of them. I think it's listed as make an offer. Yeah. That's interesting. I wonder if they'd keep the motor and trans to let me make an offer on the chassis. Who knows? I don't need another sand car. I got 2 minutes. I had too much shit going on. A decent offer would be probably what the motor and trans is worth, because the rest of it's going to have to be torn down. Speed UTV cars. Seen them on your YouTube page a lot. crossover between side by side and a trophy truck, or are they just new tech that will get better? Let's see what the electric passed for 2 minutes. So about 100K. Nah, I wouldn't offer that much. Let's see. Speed UTV cars. Let's talk about speed UTV cars for a minute. How do I don't know. It's weird. It's so weird that people hate a manufacturer of a car so badly that if it's crazy. Like, people think if I like a speed UTV that I swing from Robbie's nuts. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard of. It just, the speed UTV. Yeah, great. You park a speed UTV next to any other side by side out there, and you try to compare those cars chassis for chassis. The speed UTV car blows any side by side there is out there out of the water when it comes to chassis design, rigidity, strength, welds, you name it. I mean, they're real built badass cars. They had some engine trouble. They had some problems, and apparently they're all worked out now, or working on it, or what have you. But I almost, when people ask me questions about speed cars, I kind of lock up a little bit now, because so many freaking people hate them. Like Boardmanville, dude, Lance. I don't know what that guy's deal is, but he hates Robbie and hates his product and hates the car, and and then that's fine, but it's like there are just so many issues. You have to understand that Robbie put out a car during COVID, which was not easy to do. And apparently the first ones from what I understand, the first ones that came over were junk, and he rejected all of them. So they had to basically start from scratch. I didn't follow all that the whole way. I just was stoked when they came out, and I got to drive one. It was freaking bitching. It's usually the people that don't even have a UTV. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I've driven 3 or 4 different cars now. They just work, man. They work well. And again, because I know Robbie and we do business with him, people think that you guys swing off his nuts or whatever. And it's like, dude, I don't have to swing. We don't have to swing off anybody's nuts at Glamis Fab to make a buck, right? But we want to be a place where you guys can come if you own a speed and get it repaired, just like if you own a Can-Am or a Polaris or a sand car. We want to be able to fix everything. If you bring us a joiner or what did we weld on out there that was an oddball? Segway. Segway makes a UTV. We were welding on a Segway, a couple last month. I don't care what it is. Just when they came out, I happened to have some mutual friends that knew Robbie and got me in touch with him. So that worked out in our favor, because now we're exclusively the only ones carrying parts in Glamis for speed. And, if you hate on us for that, then, whatever. You should have got there before I did. The Segway is actually, yeah, I checked it out. It looked pretty cool. The speed cars always sound like they are bogging down for some reason. Well, they just sound completely different than anything that you're used to. Now, what you have to understand about those cars is Robbie designed that. They designed that motor from scratch. I thought they were going to put like an Arctic Cat motor or something in them, and somebody told me it had something to do with the credits, that the EPA credits, that the amount of motors he needed to order to fulfill his customers would take Suzuki or whoever built those motors over their EPA credits, and they couldn't have, it wouldn't have been profitable for them to do it that way. They would have had to buy more EPA credits. It's just, it is what it is. But there are a lot of issues. There were a lot of issues with the motors and stuff. I've seen some blow up, some overheat or whatever, but they've worked them out, and they're solid cars. Good thing you didn't go Arctic Cat. Yeah, right? They're out of business. Honda three-wheelers. I'm not a three-wheeler guy. Putting a windshield on a sand rail do temps run hot if the radiator is mounted high behind the seat? Yes. My car, well, to take that back, we have seen a lot of cars when they add a windshield start to run hotter. How's the windshield holding up in Che Bella? Awesome, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. So putting a windshield, like I put a windshield in my car, and when I went on race week, my temps ran about 215. And if I take the windshield out, it runs at like 185. So it definitely made a difference when I was on the street and in the dunes. Windshield, let's see. Who wouldn't want to drive and own a side-by-side that was designed by Robbie Gordon? The haters, that's who. EPA credits, go Robbie, go. Yeah, right? Yeah, who wouldn't want to drive a Robbie Gordon designed car? I mean, the guy's got more experience in his left hand than most, off-roaders get in their whole life. I mean, the guy is a wealth of knowledge. And to be honest with you, he's never been anything but respectful to us and answered any questions we had, any kind of technical questions. He shared inside information with us, showed us how things worked. He loves to talk about his cars and how they work. I don't see a lot of other manufacturers doing that. Let's see. Have Hondas taken over the Subi engines? You used to see a lot. We don't see a lot of Subaru stuff. I mean, there are the diehard Subi guys. But I think at this point, it's probably about 50-50. No, I take that back. I probably see more Hondas than we do Subis. And that might be because whatever cars those Subis in aren't breaking, and we're not seeing them at Glamis Fab. So have they taken over? I don't know. I know Subis are expensive, man, especially if you want to turn the boost up on them. And you got to run race gas or E85. They get pricey. I haven't seen many Kawasaki KRXs in the dunes. Any reasons why? No, I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know why we don't see many Kawasaki ones in the dunes. I think they were late. I think they were late to the show, just like Honda was. Honda, who has a pedigree in off-roading, I think they missed the boat when it comes to side-by-sides, man. I mean, they had ATCs, dirt bikes, ATCs. They had the Honda Odyssey, the Honda Pilot. I don't know why their side-by-side isn't just killing it. But how can I get my family members to stop being Democrats? I don't know, bud. I don't know about that one. Pick a new family, I guess. I'm not sure. They're more trail orientated than Boxster for the choice. Yep. Boxster engines. So when Max was getting flamed on social media, I knew it was just shitty people. Dude, honestly, Max is probably one of the solidest kids I've ever met in my life, man. He'll give you a firm handshake and look you right in the eyes when he's talking to you. Just really respectful kid. Most of the kids Max's age these days, I'm going to date myself and sound old, but their pants are hanging halfway off their ass. And, you can understand half the shit they're saying. But Max is a solid kid. Robbie's a solid guy. And that's all I got to say about that. And they built a hell of a car. If you have $100,000 rig or a piece of shit, we're all there for the same reason, to have fun. You know what, man? That's a great comment. It's all relative, right? So I used to have a Suzuki Samurai that had, Jeep YJ springs on it. And we used to go rock crawling and stuff. But one of my favorite things to do was to haul ass down the fire roads. And we'd haul ass on our Samurais down the fire roads. And you get that same adrenaline rush that I would get in my sand car. But on those fire roads in that little Samurai, I was only going like 20 miles an hour. But it's relative, right? It's the same, like 20 miles an hour on a fire road in a Samurai. It feels like 80 miles an hour in my sand road going through whoops. So it doesn't matter, what level you're at or what you've got to play with in the desert. It's all relative. As long as you're smiling and you're having fun and your family's out there and you're having a good time, it doesn't matter what you got. Like somebody said something about earlier before this got broken up. They had mentioned that they had like a 1641 2-seat VW car. And I was like, hell yeah, get it out there and go have some fun, man. You love that time. Oh, and our Samurai. Yeah, that was a lot of good times. Except when we went over. I did roll my Samurai a couple times. YouTube shows pictures of an end over end, though. With a Samurai? Oh, with it. I used to be wealthy, and now I'm poor as shit. Went from a nice LS2 SCU, and now I'm rocking an old Polaris Ranger crew. Still having fun. Heck yeah, man. That's what it's all about. As long as you're still having fun, who cares, man? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you're driving. I got really lucky with my car. I bought my San Limo 12 or 13 years ago, and it was stuck in a bus tranny and a 4.3 LS in it, or 4.8 LS in it. And the motor had a hole in the block, and the transmission was stuck in second gear. So I got a really, really good deal on it. I think I paid like $6,000 for the car. But it was, it didn't have a body on it or nothing. It was just a strippy San Limo Cruiser copy. And, I've just put money into it over the years. When my car's done, it's probably going to be $150,000 car, $100,000 car, but I won't have near that into it because I've owned it for so long and just put, a little bit into it over time. Last season I bought brand new seats for it. The season before that, I redid the floor pans. So once we get it all put back together, we rolled it twice and still walked away, looking like a candy machine. Yeah, that was funny. Uh, 45 people in here still. Oh yeah, right on. Anybody wonder what that is? See that up there? Can you guys see what that says? I'm digging the new LS in mine. Yeah, me too, man. I cannot wait to let it really rip. Two-seater with a T-trailer for $4,000 and an old Ford F-150 for $3,500. Yeah, you know what? So here's something that's cool. So like when I got my first, it had to have been my first Sanrail. It wasn't my first Sanrail, but it's the first one I actually took to Glamis. I had a, I had a Chenoweth Explorer. Old, like I think it was a copy of a Chenoweth. And it had a turbo Pinto motor in it. And I bought it for, I think I paid $2,500 for it. Something like that. Beam car, and then I ended up putting a Honda in it right away. Got rid of the turbo deal and put a Honda in it. Had a bus transmission. And then I had a Ford Excursion I paid like $6,000 for. And then I had a toy hauler, Weekend Warrior. early Warrior, like a 98 or 99 6-foot Warrior that I paid like $3,000 for. So between my buggy, my truck, and my trailer, I was in everything under 10 grand, and I owned it all, and I had the pink slips for everything. And I was out there camping with guys that were in $80,000 cars and $70,000 toy haulers and $100,000 trucks. And you know what? They were not having more fun than me. We were all having the same fun. And they were deep in payments, and I owned everything outright. So again, it just goes to show you that everything's relative, right? You know, it's almost like the difference between an above ground pool and an in-ground pool. You can't get any wetter in an above ground pool than you can in a in-ground pool. You know, kind of, it's just all relative, right? Let's see. So yeah, back to that. You know, it's all you needed for fun. That's all I needed for fun. I'm just asking if Razor bought all the Glamis property at the Glamis store and all that, how much land they own, and why is that people who park behind the store have to pay for camping? Okay, so let's discuss that. Amanda. So yes, Polaris does own the Glamis Beach store. They also own all of the property. They don't own Glamis, right? So a lot of people think that Polaris owns Glamis, the whole area. That's all BLM land. It's not owned by anybody. It's owned by, the people. I believe it was 135 acres, and it goes from the Glamis Beach store all the way down to Vendors Row, the storage facility across the street, along with the 30 acres behind storage, and then all the way back to Greg Biffle's building. That property is all owned by Polaris. They bought it 5-6 years ago. They bought it from the LeBlanc family. Mama Jeannie still runs the store. She's going to stay there as long as she can. As for camping behind the store, that is private property. Nobody pays to camp back there. Those are usually family members, people from the LeBlanc family that might have a trailer back there every now and then. There is no campground or anywhere people can pay to camp. That is just not the case. The people you see camping along the road that goes up to Greg Biffle's building, we don't know who those people are along the road. And the people that are in that big building back there that's Greg Biffle's area. And what he does on his land is his deal. Who would want to camp there anyway? You got that right. And I'll get back to that in a minute. The dust there is out of control. Saving for a toy hauler, 10, 20 years history. Smart place aim. I'm going back to a tent, a dirt bike. Hell yeah. Glamis store and how much they own, and why is it that people who park behind the store have to pay for camping? Yeah, I don't know what you mean by park behind the store to pay for camping. If someone's charging you to camp back there, they're ripping you off and your shit's going to get towed. So don't camp back there. There is a fenced area behind the store called the compound. Do not ever go inside there. You will be immediately escorted off the property. It is private property. And the problem is, the reason they're so strict about it, right? And let's say you camp out there and your kid falls over on his quad and breaks his leg. Well, he fell over and broke his leg, not on public land, but on private property. And you guys know what that means. You break your leg on someone's private property, you slip and fall in someone's driveway, you know what that ensues. Lawsuits. So that's why nobody's back there. And if you do see anybody back there camped, they are probably members of the LeBlanc family who own the store. Sometimes you'll see people camp back there, a few trailers here and there, and that would be Polaris out there doing testing as well. They'll send a couple of trailers out every once in a while when they're doing R&D testing. So let's see. My first time at the dunes before I knew about you guys. Just came to our camp and talked with us for like 2 hours. Really nice guy. Joe did. How did he come into Glamis Fab? Okay. How did Joe come into Glamis Fab? Oh, Wedo came into your camp. Judo? Wedo came to your camp. How did he come into Glamis Fab? Okay, so Wedo used to work for a company called Love to Camp. He did trailer deliveries. So, dude, Wedo knows everybody in Glamis. Like, he's just been out there so long. He knows people on Gecko. He knows the vendors on Gecko. He knows the vendors here. He just knows everybody. And he's just a grinder, man, a grinder and a hard worker. So he just started hanging out around the shop, and Joe friggin' hired him. And he's a solid dude, man. I really like him. Got you, folks. I don't know what that means. Gecko loop for the win. Okay, so why would I want to camp there anyways? Yeah, I definitely would not want to camp there, especially on a holiday weekend. It is so freaking dusty where we're at. So all the dust from everybody going up and down the Wash Road, all that dust comes right over us. I get sick once or twice a year because of the dust in Glamis. It's gnarly. I have asthma really bad, and the dust freaking kills me out there. I have been to the hospital in Brawley twice for my asthma, and I keep going back. I just make sure I don't forget my. Wasn't Polaris going to build a giant shop there? Eventually, they're going to build something. We'll see a R&D facility or something, or maybe even a dealership. I'd love to see a dealership out there. That would be cool. What better spot to go buy and test drive a Polaris than right there in the dunes? Come by without problems. Heck yeah, man. That'd be cool. I used to camp. You used to camp where, Amanda? You used to camp in the compound? Back in the day, so before Polaris owned it, there was a group of people that were friends of the family, of the LeBlanc family, that used to camp right behind the store in an area that's called the compound. Yes, that did happen many, many years ago. But that's when that whole area was privately owned, and that's how that worked out. Brought a chick out there one time, and she asked if there was pavement under the sand. Next. We didn't bring her back because she was so smart. Heck yeah. Yeah, I can't stand the washes. Me either. How did Joe Fab get started, and how did I get involved? Joe's been at Glamis Fab for 16 years, I think now. Joe owned San Lamo and was just manufacturing and building cars. And I don't remember exactly how he came to start working or having the shop there. How did he? I don't exactly remember how he got the shop there. I think they an opportunity came up for him to have a repair shop there, and he figured he'd try it out. I think a couple people had tried to do it there, and they were unsuccessful at it. Honestly, it takes somebody like Joe to be successful out there. If you don't know what he knows, you won't be successful there. It's not just a open the door business and we're going to make money. You got to know, Joe knows a lot of shit, man. He like I said before, he's probably forgotten more about sand cars and off-road fabrication than I'll ever know. And then how I started there was I bought a San Lamo, and I do electrical and stuff. And a car came in the shop one day, and he didn't do electrical work, and he tried to send him out and just say, sorry, I can't help you. So I helped him. Let's see here. I used to camp at Wash One. So I think that'd be a good, safe place to camp at. Back in the day when they had all Dirty Bob and Clean Jeans. Okay, Clean Jeans was across the street. Dirty Bob's was right next to where Greg Biffles is. That piece of property that was Dirty Bob's was sold to another company or sold to somebody else, and they're actually developing on that property right now. That is the only piece of property out there besides Greg Biffles' building or Greg Biffles' area that is not owned by Polaris. There was a shop across the road from the store back in the day. Yeah, that was Clean Jeans. Why do bitches ride back through the road called Sand Highway? Okay, let's address that real quick. I put a post up on my Facebook page a while back on one of the Glamis forums and asked that question, and I got freaking destroyed. I just asked the question, and honestly, because it has a lot to do with my asthma, believe it or not. So all the people that camp in the washes, they will go around and they drive right in front of the shop or right behind the store. And it kicks up all the dust. And I had just asked, hey, why do you guys go this way from the washes when you're going to the hill at night? Because it's like a 3-minute ride over the dunes to get to Oles from any one of the washes. It just doesn't make sense to me why they would come all the way up the road, all the way in front of the store, and then all the way down Sand Highway and all the way to Oles. And I was told by a lot of people that in Polaris's ride command and in their GPSs, you type in Oldsmobile Hill, and that's the way it tells you to go. So they drive right in front of the store instead of going through the dunes. Had a few other people say, oh, my wife likes to go that way because she has the kids in the car or what have you. And I get it, right? You can drive wherever you want out there. Like we sat out in front of the shop one night and just with the fire pit going after we closed. And I probably counted 500 or 600 cars that drove back and forth in front of the shop after the store was closed and after we were closed, either going to Vendors Row or going to the hill, back and forth. And then we get guys that'll come right in front of the shop and freaking haul ass in front of the shop. Speed limit's 5 miles an hour through there. So I think what's going to eventually end up happening is if that keeps up, they're going to close that area off completely. And they're going to force everyone to go through the dunes to get to Vendors Row or get out to the hill. Let's see. Have you heard the rumor of GMC developing its own side-by-side? No, I have not. That's pretty interesting. That's what it was. It's so many VW pairs. Yes, most definitely they don't know how to navigate the dunes. And, I get it for the first time, second time, third time. You go out there, hey, let's take Sand Highway. I've taken Sand Highway a bunch. When I have friends that are out on pad 4 or 3 or 5 and we're going to go duning with them, I don't go through the dunes from the shop to get to them because I'm by myself. I drive down Sand Highway. That's why I do it. But I don't go slow down Sand Highway. I go really fast. I made it in Bobby Boucher and Dave Unknown's car. I made it from Vendors Row on Gecko, right there where where Pierre's the firewood guy is on Gecko. And I made it, or Sweet Marie's, basically, that area. And I made it to the shop in 6.5 minutes in Bobby Boucher. Never want to be in the dunes alone. Most definitely not. I don't care how much you know the dunes, how good of a duner you are, how experienced you are, what kind of car you have. Don't go to the dunes alone. I'll tell you guys a cool story. I went out to Glamis when I lived in California, and I was running. I think there was a set of shocks or something that I needed that we had at the shop, and the shop was already closed for the season. It was the middle of summer, but the store's open all the time. So I can just jam down there, go in the shop and grab them, say hi to Mama Jeannie, say hi to everybody there, and So I ripped out from my house in California, went out to the shop to pick up a set of shocks. Well, as I'm coming down the 78, I get past Gecko, and right there at pad 1, actually basically across from the ranger station, I see a truck and a flatbed trailer sitting there. As I drive by, and I was like, oh, wow, somebody must be out in the dunes right now. It was probably 114 degrees out there that day. So I keep driving. I get about a mile from Gecko, headed towards the store. I glance over to my right, and I see a side-by-side sitting up on a hill. And then I see this little speck moving, walking towards the highway, coming towards me. And he's a quarter mile into the dunes. And I was like, holy shit. And I didn't see anyone else. The guy was by himself. So I was like, in my head, I'm like, that guy's got to have somebody out there with him. He's not that stupid, right? There's no way someone's out there doing alone. So I keep driving. And I get all the way to Osborne. And something told me in my head, dude, you better turn around. Just go check. So I turn my truck around and I haul ass back down the road. And by the time I got back to where he was standing up on the highway. No water. No hat on, no sunblock, nothing. So I pull up, he gets in the truck, and I said, what the fuck are you doing? And he said, oh, I just had my side-by-side fixed. I picked it up at the dealer, and I wanted to come out here and test it and make sure it worked good, but it died out there. And I said, you're lucky the side-by-side is the only thing that died out there. And so had him in the truck. He was sweating to death, dehydrated. I gave him a bunch of water, and then I jammed him up to the store. And when Devin was still alive, God rest his soul, miss you, Dev. Devin hopped in his Razor and with somebody else, and they went and helped that guy. But, dude, very easily that guy could have become overwhelmed by the heat. He's lucky he made it from there. Had I not seen him, I don't know. There was not very many people on the 78 that day. It was middle of the afternoon. It was 2:30 in the afternoon. It was 114 degrees. It was smoking. So it's, don't do that. Don't go by yourself in the dunes, period. Ever. All right. Even hitting the small dunes from there takes off his end highway there. So, yeah, I just, prepared or not prepared, I'd never do it. A lot of carriers don't have service in the dunes. You get down in a valley. Actually, T-Mobile just got their, just did the deal with Starlink. So I have satellite out there, but, yep, most definitely. You guys don't know it. Cell sites are line of sight. Frequency waves go like this. So you get down in a valley, even if you have the best coverage in the world, you get down in a valley, your phone ain't going to work. No one's going to be able to find you. All right, guys, got a couple more minutes. What else you got? I use Iridium and have T-Mobile satellite. Yeah. Yep. Yep, true. They are not good in the bottom of a bowl. All that stuff is line of sight. And most people, I got the walkie-talkie. It says 6 miles is supposed to work. Yeah, well, not when you can't see them. Too sadly, most don't know what Iridium is. Yeah. What's your guess on the percentage of drunk drivers? Holy smokes, dude. Oh, I don't even want to guess, but it's a lot. Unfortunately, Glamis is a place where people think they can come and do anything they want to and get away and just, That is what it is. I'll keep that opinion to myself, I guess. That was terrible English. Sorry. I always find people in the middle of the night solo, broken, or busted. It's great. Yep. All right, let's see here. King of the Hammers. Someone said something about King of the Hammers. Let me see. Where'd it go? Oh, someone took their comment out. Someone said something about King of the Hammers. Where'd it go? I heard there's all kinds of. Oh, there it is. I lost it again. King of the Hammers giving Glamis a run for drinks and idiots lately. Yes, I saw that. I actually saw some people were there at night, and they were, doing that thing on the hill where guys are crawling at night, and they would flip over, and people would go over there and start jumping up and down on their cars, on their off-road cars after they flipped over. They were ripping parts off of them. They were taking mortars and throwing them like hand grenades at people. It was gnarly. Crazy. Any idea what a Type 4 Santa Rail motor should sell for? Center mount fan, 44 Webers, needs freshened up here in Phoenix. Type 4 motors, they're pretty pricey these days. Center mount shroud, so it's probably a fat motor. 44s, if they're German 44s, those are $1,000, maybe $800. It needs freshened up. I don't know, probably $3,000, $4,000. Major incident of death for King of the Hammers come under scrutiny. Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate. That's a cool event. They actually turned it into 2 weeks. Pretty bitchin' event. I know they struggled for a long time trying to get that thing to come together. So, built by one of those big builders in orange. Yes, yeah. If it was orange, it was probably Fat Performance. My friend Jair probably ported the heads. Jair worked at Fat Performance for a lot of years. I remember the old days. It was way more enjoyable. Yeah, most definitely. I kind of get the inside scoop on King of the Hammers because Daddy's Famous Foods, they have a trailer that they take out there and do food. I don't know if he did it this year or not, but I usually get the inside scoop of how rowdy it was because he's out there slinging food. So, all right, guys, that's 10 o'clock, man. For me, that's about it. Thanks to find where they mark their heads. I think I'm trying to find where they mark their heads yet. Thanks for watching and jumping in the comments. As always, guys, make sure you give us a like and a subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. It's not that hard, man. Just push the little button so you'll know when the new videos come up. I'm going to try to do more lives like this a little bit more often. If you guys have questions, save them. And I'm going to try to do one of these live from the shop at Glamis. Probably this weekend, like maybe Thursday night, because before, it won't get so busy. So after we close the shop on Thursday, maybe we'll try to do one of these with Wedo and with Joe. So we'll have a big Q&A. Brad hasn't catered King of the Hammers in a few years now. Oh, he hasn't. Oh, wow. Okay. Huh. I didn't know that. See, I don't know. See how much I talk to Brad. I mean, I talk to Brad a lot, but huh. Does your guy want to work with my big engine? Which guy and for what? I don't know. So, anyways, guys, it doesn't take much to subscribe. Just click the little button, and you'll get notified of all our new videos. I should have a few new videos coming out this week. And since Bree had the kid, yeah, most definitely. And she is freaking adorable, dude. You talking. What do you want me to do with your big engine? I don't understand. Right on, guys. We'll see you guys later. See you in the next one. Like I said, I'm going to try to do a live this weekend at the shop. Get Joe and Wedo and Dave. Maybe all of us will just do a cool Q&A. You guys can ask us anything out there. Yep, kids, Brad. Yep. Oh, most definitely. Yeah, she's adorable. All right, guys. Catch you all later, and see you in the next time.